With the passage of a $16 million bond issue this past April, the Farmington School District along with Brockmiller Construction in Farmington have started to implement new changes in the Farmington High School. Over the summer, crews began work on Phase 1 of the Farmington High School renovation. The plan called for the remodeling of bathrooms, locker rooms, hallway flooring, and hallway renovation, along with new ceiling tile and painting throughout much of the building. The total renovation cost so far is around $500,000. Construction will continue through much of the school year, and soon new lockers will begin to appear as crews work overnight. Superintendent Dr. W.L. Sanders talks about other projects in the district affected by the bond issue.
We have awnings going up at several of the campuses, which will protect our students as they load and unload the buses. Then we'll also have 18 restrooms throughout the district, things that are in the worst physical shape. That will be the next step after that.
Another addition at the Farmington High School this year is a branch of First State Community Bank of Farmington. The Black Knight branch, as it's called, is a full-service bank with the exception of loans. Matt Sebastian, the bank president, talks about the new branch.
This is all about them getting an education about banking and business, and we're really looking forward to helping be a part of that.
High school senior Jessica Stanfus was appointed branch president, and she talks about how she and the other students were hired as first-year employees.
Well, we all had to apply for the job, of course. We heard through Mrs. Strobel, who's in charge of it at the school. And so we all just filed our applications, and a few members from the First State Community Bank, they are actually the ones that picked us.
Stanfus also talks about how the bank will tie in with the school's curriculum.
Well, we're hoping to incorporate it with the class personal finance that is now a requirement to graduate. And we want to bring in speakers to come talk to the high school students about credit cards and when you should apply and when you shouldn't, and being safe with credit cards and taking out loans, because the seniors are going to be going off to college, and in a few years they'll have all these loans that they'll have to make. So hopefully we can get some speakers in for that.
The Black Knight branch of First State Community Bank is open Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 11:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Reporting for Channel 20 News, I'm Aaron Cox.
Funeral services for 28-year-old Michael Deason will be held this weekend. Deason was killed last week while serving his second tour of duty in Iraq. Deason's wife, the former Tiffany Aldridge, is a 2001 graduate of Farmington High School. Deason was a 1996 graduate of North County High School. He was scheduled to return home on September 8th.
The Farmington City Council elected Dr. Jim Bullis as the new interim mayor after former Farmington mayor Charles Rorex was recalled in the August elections. Several citizens of Farmington chose to vote the former mayor out of office after accusations of the city charging too much for the customers' electricity.
The Farmington City Council has given their approval for the construction of a new shopping center. The proposed 90-plus acre shopping complex will cost developers around $83 million. Farmington Crossing will be built between Highway 67 and the new West Outer Road, north of Maple Street.
Gas prices are dropping around the parkland. Many stations are selling gas for less than $2.50 a gallon. Customers are flocking to gas stations around the area to take advantage of the low gas prices.
Farmington High School has a new principal this year. Earlier this summer, Dr. David Waters left the Farmington School District after serving as high school principal for 12 years to advance his career. Former Associate Principal Matt Rubel was appointed as the new principal of Farmington High School. I talked to Mr. Rubel, and he told me how he feels about the new position.
I'm excited. I think it's been a good start. Still kind of learning some of the aspects of my job, kind of like the freshmen are learning, what high school is all about. So it's been a good start, and hopefully we'll continue and have a great school year.
Rubel was principal at Caruthersville before becoming the associate principal at Farmington. For Channel 20 News, I'm Jessica Sneathern.
The man who made catching crocodiles so famous died this week. 44-year-old Steve Irwin was killed when he was taping a documentary on stingrays. One of the stingrays was spooked when he came close to it and stabbed Irwin in the chest, puncturing his heart. In an interview with CNN's Larry King, Irwin talked about the dangers of his job.
When you work around big cats or crocs or snakes, mate, you got to understand that they have the power and capacity to kill or maim, and if you make a mistake, they will.
Irwin leaves behind a wife and 2 children.
Former NBC Today Show host Katie Couric made her debut as the first solo female evening news anchor on a national network earlier this week.
Hi everyone, I'm very happy to be with you tonight.
Couric took over the anchor desk at the CBS Evening News after being the co-anchor on the Today Show for 15 years.
Hello and welcome to this year's first edition of the Black Knight Sports Report. I'm Chad LaChance. The Knights football team is off to a great start with their win over Fox last week with the final score of 28-6. The Knights head away this week to battle Seckman in their first away game of the season. The Knights have been working hard over the past week and are confident in the Seckman game on Friday. Girls volleyball is off to a shaky start after Wednesday's loss to last year's state champs. The Knights redeemed themselves, however, on Thursday with a victory over DeSoto 2-0, bringing them to 4 wins and 3 losses. You can catch that game all weekend on BKTV. Boys varsity soccer lost in a close heated game on Wednesday in overtime to St. Pius Lancers. The Knights were ahead by 1 towards the end of the second half, but the Lancers came back to tie the game up seconds before the final clock ticked down. The game went into sudden death overtime and St. Pius scored after the first few minutes of play. Knights softball finished off their first round of conference play with a 9-0 win over the Potosi Lady Trojans on Wednesday. The Knights swept the first round 4-0. Finally, the Knights tennis team is undefeated in conference play. The Knights have an overall record of 4-3. That's all for this edition of the Black Knight Sports Report. Tune in each week for more updates on sports around the high school. I'm Chad LaChance.
Farmington High School will be having their homecoming next week. The theme for homecoming this year is TV game shows. Each class is designing a float that goes along with the theme. Meredith Huffman is this year's homecoming parade chairperson.
We have approximately 60 entries this year, which is pretty big for a homecoming parade.
The homecoming queen will be announced at Friday night's homecoming game, which will be brought to you live on Black Knight Television.
Farmington schools observed Constitution Day on Friday, September 15, 2006. There were several activities throughout the day in the school district. The United States Constitution was read at a ceremony at Jefferson Elementary. Many students, staff, and other dignitaries, such as State Senator Kevin Engler, were there to share in the readings. The Farmington School District held their monthly board meeting this past week. There were several discussions including the 2006 summer school report and how the open house went. Farmington High School Principal Matt Rubel awarded Sandy Karen with the Heartland Hero Award for her hard work with the music department, and high school teacher Jay Springstead for the Featured Teacher Award. The board meets every third Tuesday of the month. The next meeting will be held on October 17th. As always, the public is invited.
High school seniors were rewarded last Friday for their excellence on the language portion of the MAP testing last year.
This celebration today is for seniors, this year's seniors, and they were last year's juniors. And they took the MAP test last year, and the reason we're having this celebration is because out of all of the juniors across the whole state of Missouri, our juniors came in 9th out of all the high schools there were. And we just think that's pretty phenomenal. We're really proud of them. Came in 9th on the MAP test last year.
The high school received 9th place out of all the high schools in Missouri. The students received free pizza during their seminar class period and were able to miss both 6th and 7th periods to go outside on the football field and go over to the Civic Center gym. Students were allowed to play football and basketball during that time.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Black Knight Sports Report. I'm Chad LaChance. After a loss to the Waynesville Tigers, Knights football now has a record of 2-1. We're joined in the studio today by Michael Willis, one of the players of the week for the Farmington Knights football team. Michael, thank you for joining us.
I'm glad to be here, Chad.
All right, start off with a couple questions. What are your thoughts on how the team's doing so far this season?
Oh, well, so far through these first 3 weeks, I think the season's been very good, and I think, this team's just going to get better throughout these next 7 weeks, and I think by the time playoffs come around, it's going to be great. I think we're going to do a lot in the playoffs.
Okay. For the second question, what are your viewpoints on the upcoming game against Hillsborough?
Hillsborough, I would compare this year's team to this year's Seckman team, Also, Hillsborough has, that new turf field, and so they're gonna be pretty psyched up for this game, since it's a home game, kind of compared to last year whenever we got our field turf. And I think it's gonna be a well-fought game, and hopefully we'll come out with a win.
Okay. The Knights travel to Hillsborough this week to face off against the Hawks on their new turf field. Knights volleyball improved their record to 7-9 after defeating the Francis Howell North Lady Knights on Tuesday. The Knights swept the game in the first 2 sets. Congratulations to the Knights softball team on their conference victory. The Knights finished out their season at the conference championship at North County on Thursday. Congratulations to the Knights tennis team on their 7th conference win in a row. They defeated the Fredericktown Lady Cats and kept their outstanding record going. That does it for this week's edition of the Black Knight Sports Report. I'm Chad LaChance.
Farmington High School celebrated their homecoming this past week.
Now here's Craig and McBride with the story.
FHS kicked off homecoming Monday, September the 25th. The homecoming festivities started off with Spirit Week. High school students dressed attire corresponding with each day of the week. Monday was Pajama and Bad Hair Day. Tuesday was Senior Citizens and Backwards Day. Wednesday was Celebrity and Superhero Day. Thursday was Decades and Fake Injury Day. And Friday was Head to Toe Black and Gold Day. The students with the most school spirit each day were rewarded with soda and candy. Friday, during 7th hour, the students were treated to a pep assembly to root on their football team. At the assembly, dances were performed by both the Nightline and the cheerleading squad. Friday after school, the parade was held in downtown Farmington. Each class had a float in the parade to represent them. The theme for the floats this year was game shows. The Best Float award went to the senior class of 07. When 7 o'clock rolled around on Friday night, it was time for Knights football. The Knights pummeled the Sykeston Bulldogs 40-12. Running back Adam Bloom tells us how special this homecoming game was, it being Coach Vaughn's first homecoming game as Farmington Black Knights head football coach.
He shows a lot of love towards us and treats us like family, and we just want to do it right back for him. Let him know, that he's our coach, and we appreciate him and everything. And playing our heart out and winning the game is just one of the main things to do for the week.
And of course, what's homecoming without a queen? Miss Whitney Byington represented Farmington as she was crowned Homecoming Queen 2006. She talked to BKTV News about the excitements of becoming Homecoming Queen.
It's just pretty much a big blur. It went by so quickly, and it'd be awesome to do it again, but it was just a great memory.
For BKTV Channel 20 News, I'm Craig McBride.
The Farmington Elementary Schools awarded several of this year's 4th and 5th graders on Friday for achieving advanced or proficient on last year's MAP test. There were several assemblies to recognize the students. Roosevelt Elementary was one of the schools that had an assembly to recognize their students. The teachers were also squirted with water by the Farmington Fire Department to show that the hot MAP scores were put out. Congratulations to those students for their hard work last year.
Gas prices in the Parkland have dipped to nearly $2 a gallon, with some stations below the $2 mark. Gas prices were near $3 a gallon nearly 2 months ago. This is the first time that gas prices have been this low in over a year.
The Federal Energy Regulatory Commission has fined Ameren Corporation $15 million for damage caused by the collapse of the Tom Sauk Reservoir. The commission said that Ameren knew of critical problems at the reservoir for months before the collapse last December and violated a number of federal regulations. Missouri Governor Matt Blunt said Monday that Ameren's settlement with the FERC won't stop the state from seeking its own compensation.
Dan Rodden, also known as Dan the Zoo Man, visited Washington Franklin Elementary on Friday, September 22nd. He showed off his zoo pals, which included dogs, birds, and several other animals. The students were able to touch the animals. Rodden used the animals to help send positive messages to the students, which encouraged them to stay in school, do not do drugs, and practice good manners. The school had 2 shows for the students. The Farmington R7 bus maintenance staff has been recognized by the state for outstanding compliance with the state inspectors for 5 consecutive years. Associate Superintendent Howard Hain explains.
What the state requires is that our individual inspectors, which we have 2 mechanics or inspectors, inspect those buses within 60 days of the start of the school year. And then in February, the Highway Patrol comes in and re-inspects the fleet. They also have an award for any bus companies or school districts that have bus fleets that receive 90% inspection approval or better. With that 90% inspection approval that we have received, we have done that for 5 years in a row, since 2002 through 2006. So therefore, the state recognizes those maintenance programs that receive that excellence through 5 years of maintaining 90%. And we have received that award.
Hain presented the bus maintenance staff with the Exemplary School Bus Maintenance Award at last month's board meeting.
The counseling centers at Farmington schools are undergoing some changes. Deborah Aubuchon is the director of the counseling center for the district.
We met this summer and came up with a plan of stating our mission for all of the students in our district. The mission of the counseling centers for Farmington R7 will be to work to foster a learning environment where all students feel safe, accepted, and valued in order to excel emotionally and academically. And basically that just means that we're providing an atmosphere for the kids that, of course, our focus is academic success, but they have to feel safe and they have to feel valued and they have to feel accepted in order to achieve academically.
Abashan is also the director of the at-risk program for the Farmington R7 School District.
The Farmington R7 District website has undergone some changes recently. Craig Allen is a computer science instructor at Farmington High School and talks about some of the improvements to the website.
We streamlined it with a menu that drops down that you can get to any page anywhere on the district website. The upcoming events are updated more often now and they're more relative to the district. Student pictures are up to date with different events from homecoming, sports, elementary schools, the parade, and now you can access news articles about the students from the district on the web as well.
The improved website gives parents and the community more information about the schools in the district. To log on to the website, go to www.farmington.k12.mo.us. Now here is Sports Director Chad LaChance with the Black Knight Sports Report.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Black Knight Sports Report. I'm Chad LaChance. The Knights football team continued to dominate at the homecoming game last Friday. The Knights put on an impressive show against the Sikeston Bulldogs, beating them 40-12. Farmington got ahead early in the game and Sikeston never recovered. The Knights' record is now 4-1 as they travel to Poplar Bluff to take on the Mules. Good luck to the Knights. The Knights soccer team faced off against the Sullivan Eagles on Monday. The Knights won the game 2-1 when their first goal was scored by Stephen Mosier 3 minutes into the second half. The game winner was scored by Juan Dominguez off of a free kick. After Monday's game, the Knights improved their record to 6-6. Congratulations to the Knights cross-country team on their first win. The Knights traveled to the Southern University of Carbondale in Illinois to compete against 9 other teams. The boys came back with a first place, and the girls came home with a third-place win. Good job, guys. The Knights volleyball team had yet another dominating game against the Jackson Lady Indians on Monday. The Knights had a total of 9 aces throughout the game, beating Jackson 25-3 and 25-11, taking the game in the first 2 sets. Good job, girls. Congratulations to the Farmington Knights softball team for a great 2006 season. The Knights season officially ended on Thursday with a semifinal loss to Jackson in the second round of district play. Final score for the evening was 6-1, bringing the Knights' final record for the season to 20-5. That's all for this week's edition of the Black Knight Sports Report. I'm Chad LaChance.
For our top story, school safety continues to be a very important part of everyday life.
Here's Channel 20's Stephen Mosier with the latest.
Farmington High School has implemented new safety changes for the 2006-2007 school year. The changes include locked doors in every classroom, a strict ID policy, and a zero-tolerance hall rooming policy. I talked to high school instructor Tina Betzbacon about her opinion on the changes being made.
If it's going to make our kids more safe, we can do it. We can find ways to carry our keys around and keep our kids more safe. That's what needs to do. We're going to do it.
Reporting for Channel 20 News, I'm Stephen Mosier.
This is National Fire Safety Week. Farmington Fire Chief Phil Johnson urges area residents to take several precautions.
Be sure and check your smoke detectors, check around your water heaters if they're gas. Make sure you don't have papers and things stored around them that might catch fire. We're going to be going into the heating season here real shortly, and have your furnace checked.
Each year, the National Fire Protection Association recognizes the calendar week in which October 9th falls as Fire Prevention Week.
This is always a real fun time with the kids. We've had 2 groups of first graders from St. Paul's here today. We just had a group just leave a few minutes ago, and they were just, they just had a ball here. They get to climb through the trucks and look at them, and we watch a video that shows them, what to do if their clothes catch fire, and talks about smoke detectors in your house, things like that.
It was on October 9th, 1871, that the Great Chicago Fire started, killing 250 people and causing more than $160 million in property damage.
The new Farmington Community Clinic for Veterans is now open on West Columbia Street. The clinic now has 2 full-time doctors as well as 2 registered nurses and 2 licensed practical nurses. The new clinic is open from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. weekdays. Plans are being made for a grand opening in the near future.
The Farmington School District scored well on last year's MAP test. Channel 20's Craig McBride is here with the story.
Farmington R7 School District is celebrating 2 top 10 state MAP testing scores. In the top 10 are the last year's class of 07 juniors and last year's third graders from Jefferson Elementary. I was able to talk with Farmington High School Assistant Principal Susan Barber. She tells us about the 11th graders' 9th place finish on the MAP test.
These kids here at Farmington High School always come through for us. They're just such a fantastic bunch of kids. They did well. We knew they could do it. They worked hard at it. They gave it their best, and hey, we did it. I'm proud of you.
I was also able to talk to Cheryl Robinson, Jefferson Elementary's principal, about the third graders from last year's 4th place finish in the overall state MAP testing.
That's where your grading comes from. How many of your students, what percentage of your students score advanced or proficient on that test? And our third graders in the communication arts spot, not the math spot, scored 4th in the state of about 1,254 elementary schools. They scored number 4. They were 1/10 of a percent, not 1%, 1/10 of a percent off third place.
For BKTV Channel 20 News, I'm Craig McBride.
Many of you may not know that Bonne Terre, Missouri isn't just about the mining industry. Some people may be surprised when they hear there's a space museum in Bonne Terre, Missouri, and I was definitely one of them. But I was soon to find out that just an hour in the Space Museum is like a day in the St. Louis Science Center, and it's right in our own backyard. Earl Mullins is the creator of the Space Museum, and he told me the purpose behind this wonderful attraction.
But the whole idea behind the Space Museum here in Bonne Terre is about education and hopefully encouraging young people and adults to set loftier goals than what I'm afraid is being set. I think we're losing a generation. What I want to do through the museum is to really reignite that wonder and gee whiz attitude that we had in the 60s when we were headed to the moon.
Mullins told me about many of the attractions and services available at the Space Museum.
We have an audio tour that's at least an hour long. It tells you a great deal of information about the space race, how we got involved in space exploration in the first place. It explains the artifacts here in greater detail than what you will actually get from the written descriptions. We encourage you to take that. We've got a lot of things planned for the Space Museum. We plan next year, tentatively right now, to have a day space camp where young people and adults, if they're interested, can come, build a rocket, fly it, meet neat people, learn something about space exploration, all the technologies.
The museum has many wonderful volunteers and always welcomes anyone who would like to be a part of this amazing exhibit in the parkland. The Space Museum is open to the public Saturdays from 9 to 5, and it's right here on East School Street at 116 by Heritage Hall. For more information, you can call 573-358-1200 or visit them on the World Wide Web at www.space-mo.org. For Channel 20 News, I'm Aaron Cox.
Now here's Channel 20 Sports Director Chad LaChance with a check on sports.
The Knights football team continued its great season with a win over Poplar Bluff last Friday. The Knights put on an impressive show on defense with a couple goal line stands. The Mules played a tough game, coming out pumped up in both the first and second half. But no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't pull out a win against the Knights. The final score for the game was 21-14. Knights tennis is doing great as they progress farther into the state playoffs. The Knights grabbed a regional win on Tuesday against Dexter. Farmington now has a record of 9-5 and will be taking on John Burroughs at Charleston High School on Saturday. John Burroughs has a record of 10-5. Knights volleyball team continued to dominate on Monday night against the Poplar Bluff Lady Mules. The Knights came away with a 2-set sweep with a final score in the first set of 25-10 and a score in the second set of 25-15. 32 of the Knights' 50 points were scored on kills. Best came away with 17 kills and Winslow came away with 13. Knights soccer had a great game against the Hillsboro Hawks, pulling off a shutout with a final score of 3-0. The Knights only had 2 shots on the goal in the second half, but they made them both count. The Hawks played strong offensively, but unfortunately for them, they weren't as strong as the Knights' defense. Congratulations to boys soccer. Thank you for watching this week's edition of the Black Knight Sports Report. I'm Chad LaChance.
The marching band has had a lot of success this school year. Here's Channel 20's Derek Lacey with more.
The Black Knight Marching Band has had a busy season so far. I talked to band director Kurt Balke about some of the events they participated in.
This year we've attended several regional contests. Back in September we attended the Mozingo Marching Percussion Competition where our drum line finished in 8th place. We hosted our 9th annual Farmington Marching Invitational in September. It was attended by 22 bands. Several thousand people. We sold a lot of concessions and made $1 or $2, so we're real happy about that. Of course, we participated in homecoming here at Farmington, and then we attended the Bi-State Marching Championships in Potosi, where we won our class and came in 5th place during the finals competition. We also received numerous caption awards: outstanding drum majors, outstanding auxiliary, outstanding percussion, and outstanding music. We also attended the Rebel Invitational in Park Hills, where we were 3rd place in our class.
Kurt Balke also explains the future of Black Knight Marching Band.
Now we're getting ready for some Veterans Day ceremonies. We'll also march in the Farmington Christmas Parade in December. And the Jazz Ensemble and Jazz Lab Band are also getting ready for some winter concerts as well. And we'll start playing at some basketball games. So it's been a busy semester and it's really not going to let up.
For Channel 20 News, I'm Derek Lacey.
Legendary game show host Bob Barker has announced his retirement. Barker is known as the host of The Price is Right. He will celebrate his 83rd birthday this December and retire after completing 35 seasons of the game show next June. Barker has been in the TV business for nearly a half of a century. FHS Theater Guild will be presenting Rebel Without a Cause next week. Theater Guild director Kevin Marler talks about the play.
In this story, we have the character of Jim Stark, who is the male principal role who moves to town. His next door neighbor is Judy Brown, which they kind of start out not too friendly, but then they turn into a love interest as they go along. And he meets up with her boyfriend at the time, Buzz Gunderson, which is played by Josh Bay. In addition, we meet the character of Plato, which turns out to be a good friend of Jim's throughout the story. That's played by Mark Poston. And we have the mom and dad, Mr. and Mrs. Stark, played by Caitlin Doty and Bobby Barnes, and Joey Engler is Ray, the juvenile officer, and then there's a lot of other characters that are involved as well.
The play will be at Truman Auditorium on November the 9th, 10th, and 11th.
Sophomore Lauren Peterson of Farmington High School has been selected to participate in the 2007 Miss Teen USA pageant by winning the Teen Miss Missouri pageant last weekend in Springfield. Peterson talks about the pageant.
Well, I met Rachel Ward when I was buying a sweetheart dress for, the high school sweetheart dance, and she won Miss Missouri Teen USA 2004. And she was like, oh, you should do this pageant. It's amazing. You meet wonderful girls. And I was just like, that would be fun. So we just started researching it on the internet, and we just got started. It was awesome. Oh, the girls were amazing. The girls, there was no mean comments. They helped with everything. If you needed something, you went to them. It was so much fun.
Peterson is also the reigning Junior Miss Soybean, Miss Community Day, Miss Puxico PTO, Junior Miss Pink, and Junior Miss Springtime.
Truman Kindergarten Center has monthly student and family activities. Channel 20's Craig McBride has more on the story.
Truman Kindergarten Center has a program where students take home projects that require family involvement. I had a chance to speak with Jennifer Wolk, a teacher at the Truman Kindergarten Center, and she had this to say about the parent-student projects.
We try to do one activity that we send home with the kids, one a month, and just a fun activity for the parents to sit down, something creative they can do with the kids. In October, we sent home a large pumpkin that they just had to decorate and disguise the pumpkin however they wanted to. Then usually when they bring it back to school, we extend the activity by writing about it or decorating our halls. November, we're sending home a turkey for them to decorate. Just something fun, something out of the ordinary that is a little different than the normal.
Along with Miss Wolk, I was able to speak with a very special student.
My dad drew the pictures on it for me because it was hard for me. I didn't know how to draw it. And,
all right. Did you like it when your dad helped you out?
Yeah. He come to eat lunch with me today.
For the month of November, the Family Student Project will be a family tree that will be decorated by the students and their parents. For Channel 20 News, I'm Craig McBride.
There's going to be a bake sale coming up in the Farmington area. Here's Channel 20's Stephen Mosier with more.
Coming up on Saturday, November 18th, Help the Hungry Bake Sale will be hosting a bake sale at the Centene Center. I talked to Chris Landron about the upcoming bake sale at the Centene Center.
We're going to have 9 different booths, and each booth is going to have a different type of baked good in it. So, for example, we're going to have an all-American pie shop that will have pies in it. We're going to have the cookie tin express shop. So that booth will have cookies. So each booth will have a certain type of baked item in it. Then we're also going to have a Grandma's Kitchen that will just have jams and jellies and things like that in it.
Landrum also stated that there will be more going on than just the selling of baked goods.
Something else that we're going to have is a stage with cooking demonstrations and an auction. And I think at about 12 o'clock or 12:30, we're going to have a 30-minute, 30-item auction and use that to raise money.
Reporting for Channel 20 News, I'm Stephen Mosier.
Fall is here, and that means that deer season is just around the corner. Conservation agent Grant Jelly talks about the upcoming season.
With all these hunters in the woods, we're bound to have some accidents this year. We do every year, and most of those accidents are caused by hunter judgment mistakes. They just don't identify that the game that they're about to take a shot at. So it's real important that hunters take their time out there. I know they get excited, and we've all done it. So it's very important to identify your game and just take your time when you're out there. As soon as that deer hits the ground, what they first need to do is put their transportation tag on it. A lot of folks make the mistake of field dressing it and dragging it up to the house and starting to butcher it. What they first need to do is put that transportation tag on. We see a lot of violations about that each year, so that's the first and most important step. And then after that, they have until 10 p.m. that day to telecheck their deer. We no longer have check stations in Missouri. All of our checking in procedures are done via telephone, or they can be done through the internet. So they have to call by 10 p.m. that night and receive their confirmation number. Then the bottom portion of the permit is placed on the deer, and the checking process is complete, and they can start processing it.
Matt College Day was this past Thursday. Farmington High School seniors went to the College Day to receive information on colleges. Several colleges and universities were there to talk to the seniors. Farmington High School seniors go to this event every year.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Black Knight Sports Report. I'm Chad LaChance. The regular season for Knights football officially ended with a win in both conference and districts. Farmington demolished the North County Raiders on Thursday, beating them 56-7, and they will now go on to face the Cape Central Tigers on Wednesday. BKTV will be airing the game on Thursday. Congratulations to the Knights and good luck on Wednesday. Knights volleyball officially ended their season with a loss at sectionals to the Corhezu Lady Chargers. It was a long and grueling 3-game match, but the Knights couldn't manage to pull off a win. We here at Channel 20 News would like to congratulate the Knights on a terrific season. They ended their season with a record of 19-11. Basketball season has officially started. The team spent all of this week at tryouts, and they start practice next week. I don't have an official list of the players that made the team yet, but when I get it, I'll be sure to let you know. The new head coach of the Knights team says that he hopes this will be a promising year.
Moving from Class 5 to Class 4, we're hoping that'll make things easier for us. Of course, that depends on us, but that's our main goal, is to maybe try to get that district title.
That does it for this week's edition of the Black Knight Sports Report. I'm Chad LaChance.
Farmington High School offers vocational programs for students interested in extending their education in particular fields.
Here's Channel 20's Craig McBride with more.
Here at Farmington High School, education always comes first. And to help extend the learning experience, we offer a variety of vocational programs. Miss Peggy Harris speaks to us about the programs the Family and Consumer Science Department has to offer.
I teach family and consumer science classes, and those are Foods 1 class, Foods 2 class, and a parenting class, in which we do basics of food cooking. Foods 2, we study different cultures and meal management. And in parenting class, it's more of a hands-on. We have a baby think it over, in which the students are required to carry babies that are computerized, and it records whether they are tampered with or neglect. It's a real life situation. Most of my classes are. There's another program called Working with Children here. Students can utilize that and get 6 free college hours through CMO, and they're contracted out into businesses with daycares, and that's a really great program to promote here.
Mr. Eric Shelton of the Technology Department at Farmington High School speaks with Channel 20 News about the vocational programs he has to offer.
A comprehensive program that gets students involved in engineering technology. There are basically 5 different courses that are offered. We have 3 foundation courses, and then we have a couple of specialization courses, and then their senior year students that are involved in that program will be in a what's called a capstone course, where they work on a year-long project, and at the end of that year they actually go in front of a panel of professional engineers and present the project and the problems that they've come across doing the project to that panel of professional engineers.
Mr. Dwayne Melton speaks with us about the vocational programs the Agriculture Department has to offer.
Well, we teach several classes in vocational agriculture here at Farmington High School. We start out with the Ag 1 class, which is an introduction to agriculture. We'll cover a broad scheme of things in that. Everything from what is FFA, the organization based around agriculture classes, to your personal goals in high school and beyond. Kind of start students out thinking about what they want to do after high school. A little bit of record keeping, then we start getting into the second semester more about what people think of agriculture as production of edible products and animal products that students can use, clothing items and stuff like that. So we get started more in that thing of the items where students think of being agriculture items. After we've kind of got them past that we are more than just cows, plows, and sows. Second year classes do an Ag 2 production, which is greenhouse. We plant seeds, we grow seeds, we try to alter plants, and we try to see what we can do with a plant. So it's based more around production agriculture, mainly crops in the greenhouse. My other Ag 2 is mechanization. It's a beginning welding class. Students learn how to use cutting torch, chop saws, welding projects back together, start some minor projects that I have them do, drawing out plans, and then if time allows, they start into their own projects.
Mr. Jack Sadler speaks to us about the Black Knight Television Department.
Black Knight Television is a 4-year program at Farmington High School. It's a vocational program where students can get an entry-level job when they complete the program here at Farmington. What we do is teach them the first year the basics of camera operation, script writing, storyboarding. They get to use all the equipment. It's real hands-on. They get to do various jobs and kind of learn what they want to do. The second year of the program, they specialize a little more in the different jobs that they have. In the third year, we work on producing a weekly newscast. Third and fourth year students work on that, as well as doing some other special long-form projects that we work on. But it prepares them for a job in the industry, an entry-level position at a TV station or a production facility. We have 2 editing systems. We have a Final Cut Pro, and we have an Avid editing system. So it's the latest technology that they learn right here in high school and can take that with them to college or into the workplace.
For Channel 20 News, I'm Craig McBride.
Recently, several banks in the community and Accent Telecommunications donated books to students at Jefferson Elementary. The banks included U.S. Bank, Commerce, and First State Community Bank. Each business adopted a grade level and donated a book to each student of that grade. The businesses also had a member visit the school and read to the students.
Farmington High School senior Danielle Luttrell has been awarded one of only 7 scholarships given in the country from the United States Navy. The scholarship is worth $180,000. The high school held a press conference on Wednesday of this past week. There were representatives from the United States Navy there as well. The Farmington High School held their parent-teacher conferences this past week. Parent-teacher conferences are held annually so parents can visit their child's teacher. High school principal Matt Rubel explains.
Information on, not just the report cards or progress reports, but information on map testing from the spring of last year, and just some more information for parents and students about what's going on here at Farmington High School.
Parent-teacher conferences were also held at the middle school.
The fall firearms deer season runs through next weekend in Missouri. St. Francis County Conservation Agent Grant Jelly talks about a special program he's doing with the Farmington Elks Lodge.
We're starting a veterans hide program, and what that means is we'll have a lot of deer killed in the counties or surrounding county areas, and before hunters go out and just dispose of those deer hides, the Elks are asking that any lucky hunter bring in their deer hide, and these hides are being shipped to other states to be tanned, and they're brought back and they're donated to local veterans organizations, and they're used for things like moccasins, wheelchair gloves, things like that.
Jelly also talks about the Share the Harvest program.
The Share the Harvest processor that we have is Miller Meats, and they're located up in Bonne Terre. And what Share the Harvest is, it's a program that donates food to the needy. So that you can, if you take several deer, you don't like the taste of deer meat, but you like to hunt, you can donate to the Share the Harvest program. They'll be sure to get it to some food pantries in the area.
In addition to hunter safety, local law enforcement agencies remind drivers to be on the lookout for deer crossing the road this time of the year.
State Senator Kevin Engler of Farmington was elected the Senate's Majority Caucus Whip in unanimous vote of the Senate this last week. Engler says he plans to expand the traditional duties of the job by lining up votes in support of the caucus position to add a focus on communication and compromise. The first regular session of the 94th Missouri General Assembly will convene January 3rd in Jefferson City.
The City of Farmington is in an agreement with the East Missouri Action Agency to participate in dollar assistance. This program is operated by EMAA. This will let utility providers make allowances for customers to donate funds to be used to help pay utility bills for the less fortunate. Utility customers may elect to contribute money above their utility bill to assist low-income families with winter heating and summer cooling expenses beginning in December.
The next phase of the courthouse expansion is underway. Demolition crews will be working over the next few weeks, removing thick concrete walls inside the original structure and preparing it for renovation. The courthouse annex opened this summer and houses many of the offices that were in the original building.
A groundbreaking ceremony for the Farmington Regional Airport expansion project was held this Monday. As part of the expansion, the existing buildings will be torn down and replaced with a new terminal facility. The runway will also be expanded to 5,000 feet. The cost of this project is just over $2.1 million.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Black Knight Sports Report. I'm Chad LaChance. The talk of the town recently has been the Knights football team as they advance to the semifinal round of the state playoffs. This is only the second time in the school's history that the football team has made it to the semifinal round. The Knights advanced after defeating the Rockwood Summit Falcons last Monday in a grueling game with a final score of 22-15. I wanted to change things up this week and bring in someone from the community to give you a look at the opinions of someone not involved with the football team. I have with me today Dewey Smallin. Mr. Smallin, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you, Chad, for having me.
All right. So obviously the football team has had a spectacular season so far this year.
Yes.
How do you think it's influenced the community?
Well, it's given us a lot of community pride. We're all very happy with the team, and we're always supporting it. You can go up down Cars Boulevard and see Go Knights every place. The school is very active in it. And then you have to go to your personal, the kids. This is something they'll never forget in their life. So it's a wonderful thing. It's historic and something that we'll all remember for a long time.
Okay, and the Knights this year, they've got a new head coach, Todd Vaughn. What are your thoughts on him?
Well, as a coach, he came in and did what he said he was going to do. You know, you got to respect that. Wonderful, wonderful coaching staff has really inspired these boys, and I think they'll continue to inspire them into this year, next year, and on in. You know, we may be looking at a dynasty here, something similar to our wrestling team, who has been very good for years. And wherever you go in the state, you say Farmington, they say, oh, you got a good wrestling team. I hope they go and say, you know, you got a good football team too.
Okay, and going into that a little more, do you think this year's football season will influence the other sports for not only this year, but many years to come as well?
Well, I think the bar has been raised and quite a bit. I don't think a district championship will be enough for a Farmington team now. You know, I go to the games and I see the wrestling team there supporting them, the basketball team. Don't you think they're watching this saying, that's got to be us? You know, things have raised. There's more expectations now for us to do better.
All right. Well, Mr. Small, thank you for joining us.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, the Knights stay home this Saturday as they take on the Hannibal Pirates. After Monday's win over Rockwood Summit, we spoke with Parks Peterson about preparing for the game against Hannibal.
We're just gonna do what we usually do: work hard. We're gonna scout them. Our coaches they do a great job scouting, and then we're gonna find their weaknesses and we're gonna attack it like we do every week, and we're gonna play with all our heart. And we're just gonna keep going till the game's over.
Head coach Todd Vaughn also talked about the Hannibal Pirates.
They have an excellent quarterback. Their quarterback is their go-to guy. He's their free safety. He's their punter. He's their return guy on kicks, on punts. He holds for extra points. And he's an excellent football player, excellent athlete, very physical young man. I think we've watched, as much film as we possibly can, and I don't think we've seen him miss a tackle yet. So he's an excellent football player. And then offensively, to get back offensively, they're primarily a run team. They'll run some outside veer and some inside veer and some trap and counter and then run some play action off of that. And they're very, very good at it. And, when you see them, they don't have the athletes that Rockwood Summit had offensively, but they're a better offensive team because they execute and they're disciplined. And they don't do a lot of different things, but what they do really, really well.
Vaughn also talked about the Knights' defense against Rockwood Summit.
What I was most impressed with about our defense was, first of all, I thought our defensive line was fantastic. Yeah. I thought Kevin Pathidis played one of his best games. Dusty Amston played one of his best games. And I mentioned earlier, Heath Hennis was fantastic. So anytime that happens, you have a chance. But, what I was most impressed with is we were able to get to the football, but at the same time, we were able to defend screen. We were able to defend some of their play action. And when you have an aggressive defense, as an offensive coach, you try to take advantage of their aggressiveness and you run some misdirection and some play action and you run screen.
The Knights hope to advance themselves into the state championship game at the Edward Jones Dome next Friday. Good luck to the Knights. With the 2006 high school volleyball season coming to a close, the Missouri State Volleyball Coaches Association has released their selections for the all-state teams. Sydney Winslow was the only player from the MAAA schools to make first team. Winslow averaged 5.12 kills per game, and she served 77 aces in this season. Megan Best was named to the Class 4 second team. Best averaged 4.43 kills and averaged 2.57 digs per game. Both senior girls have committed to playing volleyball in college next year. Megan Best signed this week with Oklahoma University. Sydney Winslow will be heading to Southern Illinois University at Edwardsville. And that does it for this week's edition of the Black Knight Sports Report. I'm Chad LaChance.
The annual Farmington Christmas Parade is coming to town. Kreckler Jewelers owner Jeff Kreckler explains.
We're very excited. It's Kreckler Jewelers' third annual year of sponsoring it. And I talked to the Chamber of Commerce. We've added a marching band competition this year, which we're very excited about. People have the opportunity to see bands from all around the area. I know there's a lot of entries. It's going to be a lot of beautiful floats, a lot of neat walking entries from the local churches. And we're excited. Of course, Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus will make an appearance at the end of the parade, and then they will lead us to Long Memorial Hall.
Shortly after the parade, Winter Wonderland at Long Memorial Hall will officially open. Here's Channel 20's Stephen Mosier with more.
The yearly Winter Wonderland is in town. This is a fun activity where children get to sit on Santa's lap and get a gift. I spoke with Bud Norman about Winter Wonderland.
Winter Wonderland's a place that Farmington Parks and Recreation, the Chamber of Commerce, and other businesses and civic organizations have been involved with for a number of years. I would say about 30 years now, in that range, we've been actually doing Winter Wonderland in City Hall here in Farmington. And it's a place where kids come and see Santa. Santa has something for them. Moms and dads bring their video cameras, their still photo cameras, and a lot of photo ops. A place where you can have some quality family time, and there's a lot of attractions for the young and the young at heart to see while they're here.
Winter Wonderland is a great place to visit and a must-see for children. Reporting for Channel 20 News, I'm Stephen Mosier.
Students in the Farmington School District missed 3 days due to last week's ice storm. Many residents were without power for several days due to the damage to power lines and tree limbs. Students returned to class on Tuesday of this week. Associate Superintendent Howard Haynes says attendance was good despite the fact that some areas were still without power at the time.
I actually checked one attendance center at Washington Franklin, and we had 91% attendance. We shoot for 95, 96%. And of course, on a situation where we had such a devastating impact on the community with the ice storm, we feel that's very good. But that's the only center I did check. An informal poll of some students at Jefferson, as many as half of those kids still didn't have power at their homes. And at our middle school, an informal survey of those kids, about 40% of them didn't have power. So we're in a situation where, you know, it's something that we're going to have to live with for the next several days until we get power back on. But we feel it's important to have our facilities open, warm place for kids to be able to come and to get a good hot meal.
Haynes also said that the school district helped transport people to the Civic Center during the power outage.
We were asked by Rick Baker, the chief of police here in Farmington, to assist in evacuation of some residents of the community to warming shelters. And on Friday, we provided 2 school buses to be able to evacuate members of the community from a couple group homes. And then again on Saturday, we provided a service from a shelter to the Civic Center.
2 of Farmington High School students have been named to the Missouri All-State Choir. Here's Channel 20's Derek Lacey with more on this story.
Maddie Pesson and Claire Mendes received the highest honor for a Missouri choral student, with both earning a place in the Missouri All-State Choir. I had a chance to speak with Maddie Pesson, and she spoke about her honor.
Well, a lot of people tried out. I would say about 14 or 15 actually made it to the districts, and 2 tried out for the state. And, well, a bunch tried out for state, and only 2 of us made it.
Maddie also stated how hard all the contestants had to work to get in the choir.
It took a lot of time out of my schedule because I really had to work every night in order to get the music piece down. Had to have it memorized when I walked in. Musical notations and stuff, had to make sure I had it down pat.
When Maddie found out she made All-State, she had this to say.
Oh, when I found out, I was pretty psyched. I mean, it was really exciting. It's my 2nd year in a row, so I don't know. I had immense pressure on me because if I didn't make it this year and I made it last year, I would have felt really bad, I guess. So yeah, I was really, really excited when I found out.
The performance will be held in January at the Missouri Music Educators Convention. For Channel 20 News, I'm Derek Lacey.
The FHS Health Services Club sponsored a blood drive recently. 75 pints of blood were collected during the drive. The next blood drive at the Farmington High School will be on March the 21st. Farmington High School FCCLA members Cassie Sparks, Chelsea Lappy, and Sydney Lappy entered a gingerbread house into the Gingerbread House Contest at the Help the Hungry Bake Sale that was held at the Centene Center. Their group won 3rd place in the contest and received $25 in gift certificates to area restaurants.
We made the basic shape out of just pieces of cardboard, and then we used graham crackers and icing and just candy canes and little goodies and stuff like that.
The bake sale raised just over $10,000 for the Farmington Ministerial Alliance and St. Vincent de Paul food pantries.
Farmington High School Family and Consumer Science teacher Peggy Harris incorporated a community service project with their foods class and made chili for local firefighters. The goal was to demonstrate leadership skills. The students, as a class, accomplished this by coming up with a cooking service project idea and preparing the meal. A total of 8 firemen from the Farmington Fire Department were present for the chili luncheon.
Farmington High School junior Cindy Bridgman won a $100 savings bond for writing an essay for a contest that was held by the VFW. The essay had to be about the freedom of challenge and explain how rights are abused and are being used correctly.
It was basically about our First Amendment rights and which ones are being abused.
Bridgman's paper will now go on to see if she can receive a scholarship.
The Farmington Knights basketball team kicked off their season with a win against Fox High School. The Knights pummeled the Warriors with a final score of 65-34. I was able to speak with junior guard Isaac Armstrong on his thoughts about the game.
I think we had a real good game. You know, we came out, started, hot. Everybody's scoring. Everybody contributed. Each player played great defense, got a lot of steals, fast break points. Even though they outsized us, we outplayed them. And it seems like a real good start for the season.
I also had a chance to speak with Colin Berry, a senior forward for the Knights. He talks to us about the loss against the Normandy Vikings.
I think being the second game of our season, we played as good as we could, but
They were really good pull-up jump shot shooters, and but I think we hustled as hard as we could, and so I think though we did lose, I think we played as good as we could.
Tonight's next two games will be against the defending Class 4 state champions St. Francis Borgia Knights, as well as the team that Borgia defeated to win the state championship, the Sikeston Bulldogs. The Farmington Knights basketball team is now 2-1 on the year, with victories against Cape Notre Dame and Lutheran South, and the lone loss coming to Belleville East. The Knights will travel to Sikeston this Monday to take on the Lady Bulldogs, and then they will have a home game on Thursday against the Cape Central Lady Tigers, which can be viewed on Channel 20. The Missouri State High School Coaches Poll has released its 2006 All-State football team. 6 players from Farmington High School made the All-State team. Receiving first-team honors were running back Travis Ribbing, offensive lineman Dustin Amson, and defensive lineman Heath Hennis. Receiving second-team honors were linebacker Eric Capias and wide receiver Parks Peterson. Third-team honors were awarded to defensive back Chris Hafner. For Channel 20 Sports, I'm Craig McBride.
Jefferson Elementary School has been nominated for a Blue Ribbon Gold Star School Award for the 2006-2007 school year.
Channel 20's Craig McBride has the story.
Jefferson Elementary has been nominated as a Blue Ribbon School, one of only 8 schools in Missouri to receive the nomination. School Principal Cheryl Robinson gives us more details about the reward.
The state of Missouri last year in 2006 picked out of all the schools in the state of Missouri, public and private, picked 10 schools. They were Gold Star, and then they were nominated for Blue Ribbon. All 10 of those went on to Washington, D.C. and became a Blue Ribbon school. This year, the Commissioner of Education, King, has picked 8 schools, and Jefferson Elementary, of course, was honored with the letter from the U.S. State Department that Kent King had nominated us from the state of Missouri. Jefferson Elementary is one of the 8 schools in Missouri that was picked for the No Child Left Behind Blue Ribbon. So looks like we will be going. We have an application to fill out, and basically that's it. It's a pretty simple application. All the statistics are there that say that we have met all these guidelines, and we'll be going out to Missouri, to the legislation out in Missouri, and those legislators will recognize us as a Gold Star school, and then next fall we'll go out to Washington, D.C. and be recognized out at Washington, D.C. by the U.S. Department of Education as a Blue Ribbon school.
Reporting for Channel 20 News, I'm Craig McBride.
Renovation of facilities in the Farmington R7 School District is continuing. Over the past several months, remodeling and renovation work has been put into full force. Locker rooms, bathrooms, and hallways have been remodeled at the high school. Phase 2 has included the demolition and reconstruction of elementary bathrooms and installations of new awnings. All has started off strong, is ahead of schedule, and under budget. Schools that are receiving new restrooms include Washington Franklin, W.L. Johns, Truman Kindergarten Center, and Jefferson Elementary. The same facilities, plus the middle school and Lincoln Intermediate, are getting brand new awnings purchased from Roush Interiors. Associate Superintendent Howard Hain had the opportunity to share with us what's to come in the next few months.
Right now, we've just had out for bids a water retention plan for the high school, and we have those bids back in and going to ask the Board of Education next Tuesday night, the 19th, to consider a construction company to do that water retention plan. Also, we're bidding out at this time the high school project, library and counseling center, additional classrooms, and we are asking the bid to be back in on that on the 4th of January. And we'll hope at the January board meeting to ask the board to approve those bids at that time.
A lot of progress has already been made, and there's much more to come. For continuing updates, stay tuned to Channel 20 News, or you can log on to the Farmington School District website at www.farmington.k12.mo.us. Reporting for Channel 20 News, I'm Aaron Cox.
St. Francis County will not receive the amount of funding from the Federal Emergency Management Agency that was hoped for after the recent ice storm. It was announced this week that FEMA will not reimburse private citizens for damage expenses. The agency will pay cities the cost for their crews that worked overtime in cleaning up debris after the storm. Farmington officials say the storm cost them around $400,000.
We started working instantly after we got the first call, clearing our lines and getting things ready to turn the electricity back on. when we had it back to our substations. We had our electrical crew. The first night we worked around the clock from 6 o'clock Thursday until midnight Friday, and then started in again early Saturday morning restoring services.
Charles Probst, a 2006 Farmington High School graduate, has completed basic training for the Army at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Private Charles Probst graduated on November 3rd and is now attending the United States Defense Information School at Fort Meade, Maryland. He is currently attending classes to become a combat photographer in the United States Army. Probst also received the Marksmanship Award for shooting during his basic training and was a squad leader. Channel 20 would like to congratulate Charles. Several Farmington High School cheerleaders spent the Thanksgiving holiday in the Big Apple. It has become a tradition for the Farmington High School senior cheerleaders to travel north for Thanksgiving. This may be the first time the girls aren't home for Thanksgiving and probably the last, but definitely the most memorable holiday ever. Senior Becky Necula explains what the trip was for.
We went to New York to march with 600 other girls along the streets of New York for the Macy's Day Parade and to show off our talent with all the other girls and to see New York, see the Empire State Building, see, the Ground Zero and all the important places of New York.
This trip wasn't by any means cheap. Senior Becca Shaner tells what actually went into getting the girls there.
We sold candy bars, ring pops, did 2 cheer clinics, and we sold a toilet which we placed in people's yards and they could pay to have it removed and sent to someone else. And altogether it cost about almost $2,000, and all 9 of us raised $500.
Although hard to choose, Necula told me what her favorite part of the trip was.
My favorite part of the trip was definitely marching in the parade and being in front of all those people on national television and seeing the famous people go by on the floats and going shopping and buying purses and being with all the girls on the squad.
This was the 80th anniversary of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
From Midtown Manhattan, reporting for Channel 20 News, I'm Jessica Sneeber.
The 25th anniversary performance of the Nutcracker was presented last week by the Young People's Performing Arts Theater. FHS senior Caroline Beffa was one of the principal dancers.
This year was definitely one of the most memorable, being my last year in the Nutcracker production, and we just had so much fun working with a professional from New York, and he really taught us a lot about partnering, and it's not all about just one person, but instead of dancing as one, you dance as a group. This year I performed as the Snow Queen, and she is one of the leading roles in the end of first act, and that's also a partnering role, just like the Sugar Plum Fairy, which was performed by Ashley Rhodes and Aaron McKinstry, and they did a phenomenal job this year.
The next performance will be held in 2008.
Hello and welcome once again to the Black Knight Sports Report. Knights basketball is going through some rough times after a loss to the Sikeston Bulldogs on Tuesday. With the final score of the game being 76-65, the Bulldogs had the game pretty much all the way, with the exception of the second quarter when the Knights tied the game at 23. The Knights' point leader for the night was Craig McBride. He came away with an impressive 20 points for the evening and hit 4 out of 4 from the line. He missed the leading scoring position for the game by 1 point to Sikeston's Julian Beard. The Knights improved their record after they destroyed the Sikeston Lady Bulldogs in what seemed to be an easy game on Monday. The final score for the game was 74-28. Sydney Winslow led the Knights with 17 points, followed in close second by Natalie Sago, who came away with 14. That does it for this week's edition of the Black Knight Sports Report. I'm Chad LaChance.
It's a story still almost impossible to believe. 2 kidnapped boys now reunited with their families. Back in early October of 2002, 11-year-old Sean Hornbeck was abducted off his bicycle near Richwoods, Missouri in rural Washington County. 4 years later, the beginning of a new year, the same thing happened to 13-year-old Ben Ownby just 500 feet away from his home near Beaufort in Franklin County, Missouri. But thanks to a description given to authorities by Mitchell Holtz of a white Nissan pickup truck, 2 Kirkwood police officers were able to spot that same truck at a Kirkwood apartment complex.
We knocked on the guy's door that we were there to arrest.
Yeah.
And we were leaving. We were coming down some stairs. Gary looked at me and said, "Hey, you see that?" And he pointed to the white pickup truck that we literally almost parked next to.
Really?
Yes. And then,
And what'd you say, Gary?
I basically told Chris, I said, "You see what I see?" I said, "That looks a lot like the truck on TV."
That truck belonged to Michael Devlin, a 41-year-old pizzeria worker and part-time funeral home employee.
We did a bunch of checks on the truck, and we figured, hey, this is close enough. We need to find the owner of this truck. So we start digging around. Chris went one way, I went the other way, and talked to a bunch of people. Come back, and this guy walks by us.
None other than Devlin himself, throwing out his trash as if the officers were never there.
I go up and I start talking to the dude, and he basically calm, cool, and collected. And I recognize him from working at Emo's, you know, because we frequent
pizza
there.
place.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
We go there a lot, and real laid back guy, and you know he was real laid back at that time too.
Yeah.
But and I kept digging. And I asked him, I said, "Is your truck?" He said, "Yeah, it's my truck." So I said, "Well, you know, this is where I'm going with this." And then that's where he got all squirrely on me.
The officers immediately contacted the FBI, who later entered the apartment and found not only Ben Ownby, but Sean Hornbeck as well. Law enforcement officials credit the Amber Alert system with distributing the description of the vehicle, which ultimately led to the recovery of the two missing boys. Corporal Sam Weekly of the Farmington Police Department explains what circumstances are needed to issue such an alert.
It's not used for a parental abduction or that somebody's a runaway. The child must be under 17 years of age, and the reporting agency or investigating officer believes that child has been kidnapped as according to Missouri statutes what the term of kidnapping is, and that's written in Missouri statute 565.110. The reporting agency or investigating officer also must believe that that child is in danger of serious bodily harm or death. An investigation takes place to verify that a kidnapping has occurred or has eliminated alternate explanations. In other words, that he just didn't go to a friend's house, or they don't believe he just didn't get on the bus. They want to confirm that indeed that person is missing and there's no plausible explanation for that. And the fourth criteria is significant information exists to disseminate to the public that could assist in locating a kidnapped child, alleged suspect or suspect vehicle information.
Weekly also talks about what you can do to keep your child safe.
Probably one of the most important things is know where your kids are at and what they're doing, and if they have to walk somewhere, try to make sure that there's multiple people with them. You know, most of these times that this occurs is in both of these cases, I believe that at that time that person was alone, and it makes them susceptible for something if it was going to happen.
41-year-old Michael Devlin has been charged with one felony count of kidnapping in connection with the disappearance of Ben Ownby in Franklin County. He has also been charged with one count of kidnapping and armed criminal action against Sean Hornbeck of Washington County. Devlin is being held in the Franklin County Jail in lieu of a $1 million bond. His bond in Washington County is set at $3 million cash only. Jessica, back to you.
This past week at the Farmington School District's monthly board meeting, several issues were discussed and there was an update given on the ongoing construction throughout the district. Also, the Heartland Hero Award was given to Holly Joyce and the Future Teacher Award was given to Paula Asher from W.L. Johns Early Childhood Center. Next week is School Board Appreciation Week, and the board members were also recognized for their hard work in the district. Here's Channel 20's Craig McBride with more on that part of the story.
School Board Appreciation Week is coming up in the Farmington R7 School District. I was able to sit down with Dr. W.L. Sanders and Dr. Dennis Robinson about the upcoming events.
And local school boards are elected officials who do not draw any type of salary or any type of compensation, which are in charge of all the school districts in Missouri. They have management functions. They set school board policy and procedures. They set superintendent's goals, the mission of the district, and they also approve the budget.
Well, we have a great administrative staff. That's probably where most of it, the majority of it, comes from. And there's information out there that we receive. I receive publications, quarterly, monthly, on what's going on in the country as far as education and in the schools.
Tune in next week for an update on the story. For Channel 20 News, I'm Craig McBride.
Flags are at half-staff around the nation in observance of President Gerald Ford's death. President Ford passed away on December 26th. Ford was the 38th president. Ford was buried in the tomb at his Presidential Museum in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Now here's Sports Director Chad LaChance with this week's Black Knight Sports Report.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Black Knight Sports Report. I'm Chad LaChance. The Farmington Knights basketball season is going well after they improved their record to 10-5 when they dominated Chester with a final score of 74-46 on Tuesday. The Knights had a 31-22 advantage leading into the second half and scored 27 points in the fourth, making it look like an easy game. Parks Peterson led the night with an impressive 18 points. We'd like to wish the Knights luck as they take on the Fredericktown Blackcats on Friday. Knights basketball is having a spectacular season as they are now 14-3. After Tuesday night's game against the North County Raiders, where the Knights won 72-23, they were officially ranked 10th in the Missouri Class 4 division. The Knights had yet another dominating game against Potosi on Thursday, beating them 78-20. The Knights' next game will be at Poplar Bluff on Tuesday. The Knights wrestling team has been dominating as they beat the Hillsboro Hawks 46-25 on Tuesday. The Knights were down at first, but a series of fast pins and takedowns propelled the Knights out of the reach of Hillsboro. The Knights are hoping that the momentum gained by beating the Hawks will help them roll through the conference tournament at SEMO this weekend. And that does it for this week's edition of the Black Knight Sports Report. I'm Chad LaChance.
Many changes have been implemented in the Farmington School District this year thanks to the Farmington School Board members. And what better way to show thanks than through School Board Appreciation Week? Washington Franklin Elementary Principal Angie Winch tells us how her students showed their appreciation.
The students here, however, they did the biggest part by making posters. Some of the classes made posters. I know one that was really, really cute was on the front of the where the board sits, and it was created by Miss Black's class, and it was the kids' hands put together, and they made snowflakes out of their hands, which is really a cute, made up a cute poster. Some of the other classes wrote letters to the board members expressing appreciation for what they do for us, especially helping get the bond issue passed last year and getting us new bathrooms here at Washington Franklin.
Winch says not only the students helped out through Board Appreciation Week, but the faculty also made appetizers and served them at the board meeting. For Channel 20 News, I'm Craig McBride.
The Farmington School Board has approved a $3 million addition to the high school. Brock Miller Construction Company is adding on to the Farmington High School. They placed a $3 million bid for the project and won. Howard Hain tells us more on what kind of construction is going to take place.
We look to be able to start doing what we call the demolition, which is taking trees and objects out of there so that we can start that process next week.
Hain also said that there'll be new additions coming to the Farmington High School.
In that addition is a space for the library. There'll be a new library, and also counseling center will be added, and 7 additional classrooms will be there with bathrooms.
During the summer, Brock Miller will be working on the cafeteria up until the 2007-2008 school year. When we come back to school for the 07-08 school year, then the library and counseling center will be moved to that space. And then this summer, our intent is to redo the kitchen and the service area at the high school cafeteria and expand into the library and into the counseling center for more classroom space. Reporting for Channel 20 News, I'm Stephen Mosier.
The FCCLA dress sale was this past week. Several people took advantage of the great bargains on dresses just in time for Sweetheart Week. The sale was held in the high school cafeteria. High school winter sports have been busy. Here's Sports Director Chad LaChance with the latest in this week's Black Knight Sports Report.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Black Knight Sports Report. I'm Chad LaChance. Knights basketball had a tough game against Fredericktown last Friday, but they still managed to walk away with a win. The game was neck and neck pretty much the whole way to the fourth quarter. The Knights, however, picked up the pace and dominated the fourth quarter with a series of breakaways, steals, and three-pointers, giving them a 68-52 conference win. This game improved the Knights' record to 3-0 in conference. Last Tuesday, they took control of the court and defeated the 9th-ranked Career Academy 73-54. Knights basketball played a terrific game against the Fredericktown Lady Cats to clinch the conference championship on Thursday. The final score for the game was 57-54. Congratulations to the Knights and good luck on the remainder of their season. Farmington's own Natalie Sago and Molly Currington signed to Jefferson College to play softball on Thursday. Both girls say that they are looking forward to playing for Jeffco next year. Knights wrestling is still doing well after a third-place finish at the SEMO tournament last weekend. Head coach Mark Krause says that he is proud of the kids, but still disappointed in the loss.
We've made a lot of improvements. It's not been easy because we wrestle a tough schedule, but I think slowly we've progressed and not where we want to be yet, but we're getting there. Kids are wrestling better each time we get on the mat, I think. I think we've made a lot of improvements that if we continue to improve the next 3 weeks, hopefully we'll get through the district tournament sitting in a good position where we can make a run at the state tournament to make some noise and hopefully finish at one of the high trophies.
Krause also talked about the tournament last weekend.
It was neck and neck all day long on Saturday with both the teams that were above us. Our kids wrestled well. And going back and looking at the results of the tournament, we didn't lose many matches that we probably should have won. And we won some that we had lost to the guy before. So I think we made some improvements. We wrestled well. Kind of wrestling with one arm behind our back because we don't have 103-pounders. So anytime you go into a big tournament with a weight class open, you're giving up free points and you're not getting any points out of that weight class. So it's tough to win. So I was happy with their effort. I thought we wrestled well. Disappointed in the finish, but we move on and get better. We know we can win our district if we wrestle well.
I asked Krause who he thought would be a big asset in the postseason, and this is what he had to say.
We have a returning state champion, Craig Wilson, who's 44-0 right now. We have Bradley Wisdom's another returning state champ who's 41-3, I think, right now. Nicholas Haynes wrestled real well, beat a lot of highly ranked wrestlers all year. Kendall May has done a great job for us, really stepped up this year, and I think he's ranked 4th or 5th right now, and he's beat some people above him. So look for those guys to lead us into the postseason and lead us into the state tournament.
That does it for this week's edition of the Black Knight Sports Report. I'm Chad LaChance.
The 100th day of school was this Friday, and to celebrate, Truman Kindergarten invited Zero, the hero, to their school. Chuck Henson plays Zero the hero, and he helped celebrate this wonderful event with the students. The students also got different prizes such as pencils, bookmarks, and stickers. The Farmington Life Center is now at a new location. They are now located at 725 East Karsh Boulevard. The Life Center is for helping those with different types of disabilities to be able to live on their own. To contact the Life Center at their new location, call them at 573-756-4314 or 1-800-596-7273.
This past Tuesday, the United Way of St. Francis County had their annual grant distribution meeting at First State Community Bank. More than $100,000 was distributed to area nonprofit organizations for the upcoming year.
The Black Knight branch of First State Community Bank has gotten off to a great start. Whitney Byington of the branch says it has been a huge success.
We've had a lot of returning customers and new accounts opened with the teachers and the students, and I feel that I have gained a lot of experience from this because it's actual banking, and now I have a checking account and I can go to the bank or deposit here, and it's just very convenient for me, and I think it's very convenient for the teachers and the students or anyone else that likes to visit the bank.
Bank Representative Lynn Wisdom says she is pleasantly surprised with the progress that the students have made.
They've all showed a strong interest in banking. They've been dedicated to the job and the training. Several of them are now actually working at the bank on Saturdays, so they're doing just what our tellers do at any of our branches. They're very knowledgeable, and we feel that everyone's in good hands out here with them being here.
The bank is open Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. and is located in the lobby of Farmington High School.
The Farmington Regional Airport is beginning to expand. They'll be getting new hangars, new fuel tanks, and a new terminal building. The cost of the project is currently estimated at about $1 million. Most of the money will come from federal and state aviation and transportation funds. Improvements will come in the next several months.
The East Sewer Plant, located on Highway 32 near the city limits of Farmington, is being rebuilt. This is due to not having enough room in the facility and new governmental regulations. For years, the East Plant has been operating near or beyond its capacity and has been a concern for Farmington city officials.
It's time for sports with Chad LaChance and this week's Black Knight Sports Report.
Knights basketball is headed to the semifinals after they defeated the number 7 seeded St. Genevieve Dragons 71-51 last Tuesday. At the end of the night, Farmington had 5 players in the double digits. The Knights found the Dragons' weakness early in the game, and they capitalized on it quickly by finding their players open time and time again down low. The semifinal game will take place at Mineral Area College on Friday, where Farmington will be taking on Fredericktown in what promises to be a great game. The Knights are still destroying the competition as they still hold the number 1 seed in Missouri. The Knights rolled through their semifinal opponents, the Potosi Lady Trojans, on Monday. The Knights dominated as they started the game off with 19 unanswered points and won the game with a final score of 77-28. A local soccer team took third in a nationally ranked tournament. Here's Channel 20's Stephen Mosier with more.
During these past couple weeks, a 3v3 local soccer team went to Orlando, Florida to play in a nationally ranked tournament. The coach of the girls team, Rusty Sansegraw, explained to me the difference between 3v3 soccer and 11v11 soccer.
On 3v3, there's no goalies. The field's a lot smaller. It's 40 yards by 30 yards. The goalie, there's a goalie box in front of the goal that you can't go in if you're an offensive player or a defensive player, and the goals are a lot smaller. So you have to be pretty accurate, and it's real fast, and it's a lot of ball movement. So you have to have good ball control.
During the interview, Sansegraw mentioned the competition they played in Florida.
We played against 8 different states, so it's kind of nice. You get to see kids that you don't normally see. We've actually played one team that we normally see, so I guess we played against 7 different states. One team was from Kansas City, Missouri, but we played against a Florida team, North Carolina team, Philadelphia, Texas. I can't remember the other states right now, but we played against 7 different states, so it's nice to see different competition.
Okay. Emily Mosier and Taylor Sansegraw, 2 local residents of Farmington, played for this 3v3 team. When I asked Emily Mosier who was the hardest competition, she had this to say.
The hardest team that we played were probably the Philly Falcons because they actually practice 3-on-3, and our team, we just have an 11v11 team, and we don't ever practice 3-on-3, and we only play twice a year, and they play all year round.
Taylor Sansegraw, another member of the soccer team, explained to me the difference between our field here at the high school and the field in Florida.
They're about the same size, but the one in Disney World has more fields, and it's not turf, it's just really nice grass. It's really short and everything, and it doesn't get very tall, and it's got a lot more seating areas than the Farmington one does. And that's pretty much it.
Reporting for Channel 20 News, I'm Stephen Mosier.
Knights Wrestling picked up their 9th dual win against the St. Genevieve Dragons on the 1st of February. The Knights were victorious in 9 of the 13 matches, coming out with a final score of 51-27. That does it for this week's edition of the Black Knight Sports Report. I'm Chad LaChance.
As you drive by Sam Sism Ford, you may notice a large amount of work going on that started late last year. The Sism name has been a leader in the automotive community for more than a half a century, but that's not where it all got started.
He started out in 1937, Aaron, in Bloomfield, Missouri, selling Ford tractors. And in 1954, Ford offered him the location, which at that time was in downtown Flat River, as it was called, across from the Dairy Queen.
Then in 1969, Sism Motor Company would make its next move to their current 15-acre location on Highway 67 just south of Park Hills. I talked to Kent Sism of Sism Motor Company, and he talked about the new addition here at Sam Sism Ford Lincoln Mercury.
The addition we're doing now will allow us to have about 50,000 square feet under roof, much more customer friendly. A lot of neat things, as we discussed earlier. You know, the kiosk for the checking the email, and the kids' room with the video games and all that. That's going to be fun. And of course, we'll be able to display, as you saw, about probably 12 to 15 cars if we so choose.
Sism also talked to me about what prompted a large addition outside of a major metropolitan area.
This market is growing, and a lot of people are moving from St. Louis down to basically what they think is the suburbs, what they would call that. And we see this as an opportunity to grow our business and provide the level of service that is not going to be found in this area, we don't believe, with the facilities that we're going to be able to offer. So we intend for it to grow our business quite a bit.
The new addition is hoped to be completed later this month and painting completed by midsummer. Sism says he appreciates all of his past customers and says that service will always be number one at Sam Sism Ford Lincoln Mercury. On Highway 67, just north of the Farmington exits, I'm Aaron Cox, Channel 20 News. The Board of Education met this past Tuesday. Several items were discussed in the meeting. One item discussed was the school bus inspections. All 43 buses were inspected and the district received a 93%. This is the 6th consecutive year that the district has received an Excellence Award for having a 90% rating or above. The award will be given to the district this spring. Washington Franklin School Principal Angie Winch gave the Featured Teacher Award to School Counselor Joan Sullivan and the Heartland Hero Award to Shelley Kinnan for her hard work in the school. The next board meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, March 20th. As always, the public is invited to attend.
And at this past week's meeting, Associate Superintendent Howard Hain gave an update on the construction in the district. Hain said the second phase of the bathroom renovation has been complete, and the only remaining elementary restrooms yet to be complete are the boys and girls restrooms in the Franklin buildings. Awnings are still being put up at Washington Franklin, and then will start being put up at Truman and W.L. Johns. Hain also said that the construction at the high school is going well. Excavation is underway where the new addition will be constructed, and land is also being cleared for the school's retention basin. The next focus is getting the plans drawn for the existing cafeteria renovation. The renovation is supposed to start this summer.
The high school library recently held a poetry cafe. This allowed students to read poetry they either wrote themselves or from famous authors. This was an opportunity for students to read in front of a group and read in a different venue.
Knightheads basketball is having a spectacular postseason as they easily head into the district finals. The Knightheads will compete for the Class 4 Division II title on Friday at 6 against the Festus Lady Tigers. Good luck, Farmington. The Knights basketball team will play in the district championship game against DeSoto after cruising past Windsor in the first round of the tournament and a 71-68 win in double overtime against the arch-rival North County Raiders. The game will immediately follow the girls' game on Friday. The Farmington Knights wrestling team has finished the season 5th overall in Class 3 in the state of Missouri. The team had 2 individual state champions in the 103-pound class, Brad Wisdom, and in the 112-pound class, Craig Wilson. Max Robinson tells us more on how the season went for the Knights.
The season overall was pretty good. We were a little disappointed, however, with the finish at 5th place because we were only 3 points out of the trophies, which is places 1 through 4, and we only needed one person in the finals to lose from the other team. And really, it was kind of disappointment. But overall, in the season, however, with the duels, only losing 2 duels, we were pretty happy with that. And we really had a lot of progression. We qualified 8 guys into the state tournament, and really did a good job. We had 3 placers. 2 of them were champions. Craig Wilson and Bradley Wisdom, and Nicholas Hain got 3rd place at 130. And overall, it was a pretty good season.
That's this week's Look at Sports. I'm Stephen Mosier.
The Farmington High School's Night Senate and Counseling Center sponsored their first annual College and Career Night this past week.
This is the first Farmington High School. There was an MAAA event that was sponsored many years ago. I think 2000 was the last one, but there has not been one here solely for the high school since that point. We want our high school students and even middle school kids to see what's out there. What are they here at Farmington High School for? What are they studying for? And we have vocational schools, 4-year colleges, 2-year colleges, and United States Marine Corps here as well, plus a couple of technical schools, like a beauty school as well.
Over 20 colleges, universities, technical schools, and trade unions were on hand to talk to students. There were also several breakout sessions that helped with finances and student achievement.
The FHS Theater Guild is putting on a musical. Channel 20's Stephen Mosier has more.
The Farmington High School's Theater Guild is putting on a production. This year's production is Disney's Beauty and the Beast. Tony Carruthers, a member of the FHS Theater Guild, is playing the lead role of the Beast. I had a chance to talk to Carruthers about his thoughts on the play.
I play the Beast, and the conflict is I'm put under a spell, and I have to fall in love, and I have to be loved for the spell to be broken.
Also, Carruthers explained the difference between the complexity of a musical and the simplicity of a play.
With musicals, you work a lot harder. I mean, it is a lot more work, but the payoff in the end is a lot better. Like our last musical, Godspell, my sophomore year, I still remember it like as if we were to do it like last semester. And those things sort of stick with you and sticks with the community for a while.
The play will take place March 15th through the 17th. The doors open at 6:30 and curtain call is at 7. Beauty and the Beast will be held March 15th through the 17th at Truman Auditorium. Reporting for Channel 20 News, I'm Stephen Mosier.
Ronald McDonald visited students at St. Joseph Catholic School in Farmington earlier this week. McDonald's of the Parkland is dedicated to the education of our children and helps support schools in the area with various fundraisers through the year.
Boys and girls basketball has had an amazing season. Sports Director Chad LaChance is here now with the Black Knight Sports Report.
Farmington Knights basketball has finally come to a close after what has been a spectacular season. The boys made it to the sectionals round of the state playoffs where they were defeated by the Notre Dame Bulldogs 72-60. Senior basketball player Colin Berry talks about the season.
We ended up making it all the way to districts, and winning districts was one of our original goals. We beat DeSoto in the championship for districts, and that made us one of 6 teams in Farmington High School history to do that. So we had a couple pretty disappointing losses early in the season and also towards the end, but we bounced back and we beat North County and also DeSoto in the championship and went on to sectionals. Didn't get it done against Cape Notre Dame, but we had a good ride.
We here at BKTV would like to congratulate the Knights on what has been an unforgettable season. Knights basketball is still cruising their way to the state championship as they defeated the Notre Dame Lady Bulldogs on Wednesday 56-53. The Knights were ahead by over 10 at the half, but Notre Dame came back in the second half to make the game too close for comfort. The Knights will take on St. Lutheran on Saturday in the quarterfinals round. Good luck to the Knights. That does it for this week's edition of the Black Knight Sports Report. I'm Chad LaChance.
The Farmington Knights went to the state basketball tournament last week and came home with the second-place trophy. Prior to the games, the Knights received a big send-off last Thursday, which was broadcast live on BKTV. We will have more on the Knights' trip to Columbia coming up later on in sports. Sean Hornbeck and his parents have a brand new home. The family was given the keys to their new home this week, which sits on the same lot as the family's previous home in Richwoods, Missouri. McBride and Sons completed the house in only 5 weeks. The furnished 4-bedroom home includes an office space for the Sean Hornbeck Foundation, which the family founded to help in the recovery of missing children. The Farmington R7 School District has been recognized again. Channel 20's Craig McBride has the story.
The Farmington School District has received the Commissioner's Award of Excellence for Professional Development. After applying for the award last fall, the school district received a site visit from a 3-member panel that came to interview teachers and staff to verify the information on the application. I was able to sit down with Cindy Danley, an elementary teacher in the Farmington School District, and she informs us of how the district will be recognized this year for receiving the award.
Our selection for this award is a unique honor, and it serves as a testament to our district's commitment to professional development practices and its positive impact on student achievement. On March 18th, we will be recognized for this award at the Tan-Terra in Lake of the Ozarks.
The main purpose for professional development is to provide activities for the staff so they are able to help students increase their achievement. Farmington R7 School District is one of 5 districts in the state of Missouri to receive the award. For Channel 20 News, I'm Craig McBride.
Work is continuing on the addition to the Farmington High School. Associate Superintendent Howard Hain gives us an update.
What we've done here at the site is tried to excavate all of the expansive clay and remove it and bring the site back up with granular fill, which you see now is in a chat form, and we've brought that up now to about 8 inches below the existing floor height that it'll be when the building's complete. And as you can see, the carpenters now are laying out footings for the building, which they'll pour approximately 4-foot wide footings, and then we'll build walls on top of that, which are foundation walls that'll support the structure. And as soon as we get that process going and finish with the footings and foundation walls, we'll be able to pour the flat work, which is actually the slab that the building will be utilized for inside the library and counseling center and classrooms with a concrete floor. And then later, of course, as the building process goes along, we'll put tile over that.
The construction is being paid for by the $16 million no tax increase bond issue passed by district voters last year. The Farmington High School Health Services Club will be sponsoring a blood drive next week. High school nurse Lisa Denman says blood is always needed.
As our population increases, it increases the need for more donors. And as our donor generation right now gets older, we need to keep supplying. And that's one reason that the American Red Cross targets the high schools. The kids at the high school or the students are healthy and eligible, and if they start donating blood at this age, many times they continue throughout their life.
Farmington School District participated in the statewide tornado drill this past week. The drill takes place every year in March to prepare residents for the upcoming severe weather season. Farmington High School students moved to designated areas in the school and then evacuated the building when the all clear was given.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Black Knight Sports Report. I'm Chad LaChance. The talk of the town lately has been Knightheads basketball's spectacular season. Here's Channel 20's Stephen Moser with an in-depth look at their season.
The Knightheads basketball season has come to an end. The Knightheads made it to the final round in state, taking second place. The Knightheads played Friday and Saturday. On Friday, the girls played St. Dominic for the semifinals, and on Saturday, they played Benton for the finals. I had a chance to talk to a few of the Knightheads seniors on the basketball team. They explained to me how they felt the season went.
I believe the season went well. We had a winning record and we played a bunch of good teams, and overall we did pretty good, and the team was really close and we bonded a lot throughout the season, and I think it's the closest a team's been.
I think we had a really good season. We had a really good group of girls this year. We had 6 seniors, and we've been playing ball for a really long time, and then you had a good group of juniors up behind us, and then had a couple good sophomores, and we had a lot of practices this year, more so than normal because we ended up going to state this year, so obviously it was an awesome season, and we really came together as a team, and it was a lot of fun. We had a really fun year.
After the seniors explaining to me how they felt the season went, they shared with me their most memorable moment on the team.
My most memorable moment would probably be going to state and sectionals and quarterfinals and all that, because it's never been done before. And state was a lot of fun, and we got to meet a lot of new people and experience new things that no one else has experienced.
Okay, my most memorable moment was probably when we played Lutheran South, and we had a really awesome game. It was one of our best games of the season, and whenever you see the clock going down, you see 3, 2, 1, and then you just know you're going to state. It was just an unbelievable feeling. All emotion, everything you felt from school and pressure from everybody else just went out, and you just had to run on the floor, and we just made a big pile, and it was awesome. And then going to state was awesome too. I mean, we had a lot of memorable moments.
The Knightheads are hoping to repeat their success that they had this year. Reporting for Channel 20 News, I'm Stephen Moser.
Wearing your seatbelt is a very important safety habit. Here is Channel 20's Stephen Moser with more.
This past week, Farmington High School students participated in a Teen Safety Week. This is where police officers pull over licensed drivers to check for license, registration, and seatbelts. Corporal Weekly tells us more.
Okay. Well, the Farmington Police Department and the City of Farmington are participating in a grant called Operation Safe Teen, which is a youth enforcement. The basic concept behind that is it's a driver's license, checkpoints will be established, and the emphasis is going to be on seatbelt usage. The state of Missouri has conducted some recent surveys and discovered that teen seatbelt usage is lower than what they would like to see it. The survey showed that about 56% of teens reported using their seatbelt.
Also during the interview, Weekly mentioned some safety tips that might be useful to some teens.
Drivers, as far as tips that they can do to help make them safer. Some typical causes, first of all, of accidents are inattention. That's one of our biggest in Farmington. People learning to drive, especially teenagers, need to make sure that they don't have distractions. Loud music, putting on makeup. These days and times, cell phones are a big distraction.
For Channel 20 News, I'm Stephen Mosier, reminding drivers to be safe and buckle up.
Construction is continuing at Farmington High School. Associate Superintendent Howard Hain gives us an update.
What we have here is a retaining wall that's being built to separate the difference in elevation from the building project for the library and counseling center that's going to be anywhere from 8 to 13 feet higher in elevation than the parking lot where we're standing. So it's necessary to put a retaining wall in that you can see being built to help hold the structure. The building will actually be about 12 feet from the retaining wall, so it's necessary to get to compaction on the wall so that it will help hold the building itself. And that's what the workers are doing now. You can see some pipe that are up there that are necessary to get rid of some water from the project, and actually the storm water will be carried through those pipes and off away from the job.
Once the new addition is completed, renovation of the present cafeteria will begin.
FHS Theater Guild held their musical Beauty and the Beast last week. This was the 50th production for director Kevin Marler. Marler says it was one of the most elaborate and expensive musicals Farmington High School has ever produced.
With a show this size, there was so much that was going into it. We were pretty tired by the time we hit production week. And so when we got to the actual opening night, I was just very pleased that what we put together and all the work that we put into it, it paid off and it happened.
This was the last high school performance for senior Joey Engler.
It really came together almost at the last moment. I was nervous it could have gone either way, and the suspense really sort of put more energy into everyone, so it just came out better than I thought it could have gone, and it just was almost magical with Beauty and the Beast. So,
along with Engler, this was senior Adam Halley's last performance. Halley was a member of the pit orchestra.
It was nerve-wracking, but whenever we actually started doing it, we had a lot of fun. And the worst part about it was the music was incredibly hard, incredibly difficult, even for someone who's been playing for 7 years.
Junior Bathsheba Fournier will be graduating early this year, so this too was her last high school performance. Fournier spent most of her time backstage.
Everything just ran really smoothly. We had had one good performance the night before, and the audience was really great, which helped the actors a lot.
Director Kevin Marler had some words of thanks for those who supported the production.
Patron supporters and also Senator Kevin Engler and his wife Chris, they were very instrumental in trying to help us get a program together and selling some ads that gave us the possibility to make this show financially within our means.
If you miss seeing Beauty and the Beast live, you can catch it airing on BKTV Channel 20 for the next several weeks. For Channel 20 News, I'm Jessica Sneathern.
Farmington High School held a blood drive this past week.
Farmington High School Blood Drive was a great success. I want to thank the Health Services Club members for running such a smooth drive and thank the American Red Cross. We had 108 people that presented. We had 54 first-time donors, 85 productive units, and that's approximately 255 lives that we possibly could save.
The FHS Health Service Club sponsors 2 blood drives, one in the fall and one in the spring. The National Weather Service held a storm spotter class this past week at the Farmington City Hall. The class was open to all public safety officials in the county and anyone who may be interested in becoming trained weather spotters. Year-round, weather spotters provide the National Weather Service with information on all types of weather. The Huckstep Center at Parkland Health Center in Farmington is undergoing a name change. The center that was named for Dr. Robert Huckstep, who was a longtime physician and helped found the community hospital in Farmington, will now be called the Huckstep Heart and Lung Center. They just celebrated their 13th anniversary. A new baseball season has started. Here's Channel 20's Chad LaChance with more.
Spring baseball is now underway at Farmington High School. The team has been working hard for the last couple of weeks and has already had its first game. Senior Eric Capias talks about the team.
We hit the ball pretty well, but our team can hit a lot better than what we did. We just, it was our first game, kind of got the jitters out. But I think we're going to have a very good year with hitting the ball, and we also have a lot of team chemistry, which is going to help us a lot throughout the whole year. Everybody gets along, we all hang out together, and it just looks like it's going to be a fun and exciting year.
Capayas also talked about some key players to watch for this season.
A senior key player to look out for would be Derek Stroop. He's been doing a lot of off-season baseball camps and everything. So is Isaac Armstrong. Those two guys will be big contributors to this year.
After talking to a few of the players, they've all promised this is going to be a great season for Farmington baseball. Reporting for Channel 20 Sports, I'm Chad LaChance.
The Farmington Knightheads basketball team were recognized by the Farmington City Council this week.
Mayor Jim Bullis read the proclamation.
Whereas the Farmington High School Knightheads basketball team will be honored by friends, relatives, and the citizens of Farmington on March 26, 2007 for their team's outstanding season. And whereas the Farmington School District has a rich tradition of excellence and accomplishment in academic and athletic competition, reflecting the highest ideals of hard work, training, and sportsmanship. And whereas Farmington High School has particularly excelled in fields of athletic competition during the present school year, and once again exemplify the highest traditions of discipline, teamwork, mental and physical toughness. And whereas the 2006-2007 Farmington Knightheads basketball team was composed of the following outstanding athletes, and stand as I call your name, please. Sydney Winslow, Natalie Sago, Briley Milfeld, Tiffany Zaharsky, Danielle Luttrell, Sarah Ward, Holly Russell, Kelsey Dietrich, Christine Ludicky, Casey Hagan, Danielle West, Molly Barnes, Taylor Jensen, and Ashley Jensen. Thank you. And whereas the Farmington Knightheads were the undefeated NAAA Conference champions with a record of 5-0, had a 21-game winning streak, and had an overall season record of 27-4. And whereas the Farmington Knightheads went to Columbia, Missouri, to the Missouri Class 4 state tournament where they placed second in the state, representing themselves, their parents, their school, and their community with class, grace, and distinction. And whereas the 2006-07 Farmington Knightheads basketball team represent the first girls basketball team to have a district championship in 30 years and hold the best season record in school history. Now therefore, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Farmington, I, James H. Bullis, do hereby deem it an honor and pleasure to extend this certificate of achievement in recognition of the effort by Farmington High School of becoming the first Knightheads basketball team to reach the state of Missouri Class 4 state tournament. Congratulate the Knightheads for a job well done and offer special recognition to coaches Steve McFarland, Greg Winslow, Craig Allen, and Stan Walden for their outstanding job of coaching and motivating these outstanding scholar athletes, and encourage all of the citizens of Farmington to commend and applaud the coaches and athletes of Farmington High School and wish them every success in the future. In witness whereof, I do hereby set my hand and cause the corporate seal of the city to be affixed this 26th day of March in the year 2007. Coaches and girls, please come forward.
Knightheads head coach Steve McFarland said he was pleased with the presentation.
Well, we're pretty thrilled, to have the city of Farmington present a proclamation to us, in honor of the hard work and achievement that the girls did this season. That doesn't happen every day, so the girls are quite thrilled to have that honor and to be able to go in and in front of the city council and have the mayor present it to us as real honor.
Also at Monday's meeting, council members unanimously adopted a new ordinance amending the electric department rate structure to help eliminate profit from the city-owned utility. The bill called for an across-the-board reduction in electric rates, including commercial and industrial rates as well as residential. As offered, the bill called for a 2.6% reduction in revenue in the electric department. City Administrator Greg Beavers explained that the electric department should end the current fiscal year with a reserve balance and that it is a good financial practice to maintain a reserve of at least 2 months' operating expenses. The Farmington School District Transportation Department held a dodgeball tournament last weekend at Lincoln Intermediate Center. This tournament was for 6th grader Aaron Phillips, who was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. Over 500 people participated in the event, making it a huge success. Over $4,700 was raised and will go to the Phillips family.
Farmington High School recently had great success in their first ever Farmington Idol. Here's Stephen Mosier with more details.
Farmington Idol was last Thursday, March 22nd. The talent show represented the hit TV series American Idol. Farmington Idol is more than just singing. It allowed students to show off their unique talents. Friday, a dance was held for students to vote for their favorite act. Colin Berry, a member who won the talent show, tells us more about his spectacular event.
Myself and my fellow peanut butter and jelly boys did a interpretive dance to Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture. It was representing the trials and tribulations that myself, peanut butter and jelly sandwich maker, goes through when he realizes he wants to have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and does not have any jelly. He realizes he needs to pray to the angel of jelly, and the angel of jelly brings him the holy jelly to complete his sandwich.
Also during the interview, Barry explains to me his most memorable part in the act.
A lot of people were telling it, like, people were laughing during it, and a lot of people came up, hey, that's so funny, that's so funny. But the Peanut Butter Jelly Boys really didn't see it as funny. We put our hearts and souls into it. We practiced about 8 hours a day, 6 days a week for 6 to 8 weeks beforehand. So overall, all of it was really the best for me because it couldn't have gone any better, and we really represented peanut butter jelly time to the best of our ability.
Reporting for Channel 20 News, I'm Stephen Mosier.
Some Farmington High School students will have the chance to get a jump on their college careers with a new program approved last week by the Farmington Board of Education and the Mineral Area College Board of Trustees. FHS counselor Brian Reeves explains the program.
That program will allow Farmington High School students to take college credit classes while they're here at the high school through Mineral Area College, and either work on completing their Associates of Arts degree through Mineral Area College, or getting a 42-hour transcripted block that is transferable to most all Missouri state schools. The advantage of the 42-hour block is if you don't know what you want to major in college, you can take all of the gen ed requirements like general bio, general history classes, general English classes, and then transfer that into your core when you go to a 4-year state school in Missouri.
The early college program will begin this fall at Farmington High School. Contact the Counseling Center at the high school for more information.
MoDOT crews have been busy this week as bridge girders were set over Highway 67 for the new Fairgrounds interchange. This is the next step in the $6.8 million project. The interchange is expected to be complete in late 2007. Springtime brings favorable conditions for brush and wildfires. Steve Young is Assistant Fire Chief with the Wolf Creek Fire Department.
The first thing you want to do is check with the weather. If you got any kind of winds, you don't want to burn. If you got low humidity, you don't want to burn. And one thing you want to do if you are going to burn is you want to wet down the area around where you're going to burn. Maybe use a garden hose, have one handy. Another thing people can do is contact the Central Dispatch Center, which is at 431-3131. And whenever they call there, they just tell them where they're going to be burning at and what they're going to be burning. That way it'll let the fire departments know that there's people out there burning.
Young reminds area residents to always be careful when burning brush or other items.
Longtime Farmington Electric Superintendent Ron Shepard passed away earlier this month after a brief bout with brain cancer. Shepard, who was 61, had been with the city since 1981. Under his leadership, the city negotiated contracts with Ameren UE in the days when buying power in bulk and supplying it through the city-owned system was very lucrative for the city. Shepard had intended to retire in October of this year. He had recently retired from the city following his sudden illness.
The city of Farmington has a new mayor. Former council member Jeannie Roberts took the oath of office at the monthly city council meeting this week. Also taking the oath of office were city attorney Kevin Carricker and council members Don Johnson, Dennis Smith, Vaughn Phillips, and Jeff Firehammer.
This week, the high school rewarded students by having a Renaissance barbecue to acknowledge the students' hard work this past school year. To be invited, students must have had no Fs and no discipline referrals. Students also had to have 98 to 100% attendance, be on first semester honor roll, and raise their grade point average 1 point. Spring sports have been very busy. Here's Sports Director Craig McBride with this week's Black Knight Sports Report.
Farmington sports have been thriving this year, taking home district championships in softball, football, boys and girls basketball, and wrestling, putting some more pressure on other sports to do the same. Boys tennis coach Andrew Canner talks about his hopes for a district title in his first year of coaching.
Got a great group of guys this year. They've made the transition into this year a really good one for me. District starts next week, and we hope to bring home a district championship for the first time, and possibly also get a few guys to state. We're 11-2 right now, and we hope to finish out about 13-2.
Farmington baseball has a 7-7 record under their belt with a very young squad this year. The Knights consist of 6 seniors, 7 juniors, and 4 sophomores. Let's take a look at their game against the Sykeston Bulldogs. We'll pick things up in the top of the second. Dustin Parker comes to the plate after a leadoff base hit and lines one to Derek Stroop, who catches the first base runner, anticipating and gets him for the double play. Austin Wallenberger steps in and grounds one to Isaac Armstrong, and that's Gaughan's first 1-2-3 inning. After a leadoff walk to start the inning, Nick Hain comes to the plate. A stolen base puts the runner on second. Hain gets the pitch and drives it into center field, and that'll be a double for Hain and the first run of the ball game for the Knights. Alex Freund steps up into the box, and this one's gone. That's Freund's second home run on the year, and in the bottom of the second, the Knights are up 3-0. Stroop would be the next batter, and he would walk and then steal a base. Eric Capias would come to the plate and hit one in the gap in left center. It looks like the ball should be in routine play, but the left fielder bobbles it, and Stroop's going to come all the way around from second to score. After the 5-run bottom of the second, we go back to the mound. Gaughan delivers a pitch to Jared Scott, and he'll ground one to Derek Stroop. Next batter steps in, it's Jared Limbaugh. He goes down on strikes looking. Next batter, Scott Brody, steps into the plate, and he'll ground one to Nick Hain for the third out of the inning as they go down in order 1-2-3. Gaughan would carry that momentum throughout the ball game, getting Jared Scott to fly out here. Jared Limbaugh steps in and grounds one to Isaac Armstrong, who makes a great diving play and throws it across the diamond with a scoop that gets the second out of the inning, and a pop-up by Scott Brody would put him down in order. And Nick Pathides' first game back after the tragic death of his father. He steps into the plate and drives one up the middle. Waylon Gaughan comes to the plate and bloops one into left field. That one's going to fall down, and that'll score Pathides. That put the Knights on top 6-0. Eric Capias comes up next, and he pops one up in the left field way up in the air. That's going to be caught by the left fielder, but it's deep enough to score Brian Krause for the 7th run of the game. The Knights would collect their 8th and final run of the ball game on this base hit up the middle by Isaac Armstrong. And the final score of your game is Farmington Knights 8, Sykeston Bulldogs 0. The Farmington Knightheads soccer team are 4-8 on the season. They are currently in the St. Vincent soccer tournament and will play 4 games. Stay tuned next week for an interview with Coach Rusty Sansegraw as he gives us a look at their season. For Channel 20 Sports, I'm Craig McBride.
The Farmington School District sponsored an Internet Safety Night at the Farmington Civic Center on Thursday evening. Several parents and concerned citizens turned out for the meeting, which provided information about online predators, cyberbullying, and identity theft. Sergeant Joe Laramie of the Missouri Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force was the featured speaker.
Construction is going really well at the high school. Farmington School District Associate Superintendent Howard Hain gives us an update.
We're standing here on the east side of the new addition at the high school, and as you can see from behind, the brickwork that you see is actually the east wall of the counseling center. And the hallway for the east end that will travel through and go to the science wing is evident between the old business wing and the new addition. That is the height of the first floor that you observe there at the top of the brick. We will have 2 classrooms above on a second story, and that's to accommodate the headroom and being able to get down the stairwell from the existing business wing floor line to the floor line of the new addition. And those 2 classrooms above will be the same roof line as the language arts classrooms above the science classrooms at the second floor. Basically what you have here is 20,000 square feet, an addition that is being added with 6 classrooms, library, and counseling center. In the background is the last pour of flat work with concrete that we have for the project. This will give us an opportunity for the bricklayers to expand out in this area and to put masonry block and brick around the exterior of the building so that we'll be ready for bar joists hopefully by the 1st of June. We're standing in the library, and basically we have 2 writing labs that are partitioned off with doors and walls, and we actually have access glass to see into those off the library, 1 here and 1 down at the other end of the library. And basically the library and office is constructed here on the south end, and there's another office to be constructed on the northeast corner, but all this open area that you see is library space.
Funeral services were held last weekend for Angela Sue James of Farmington. James was an employee of the Farmington School District as a special services aide and worked at the Life Center for Independent Living. She passed away on April 24th at the age of 36.
Over 150 employees of the Accent Marketing Services in Farmington were sickened last week by an unknown substance. The incident began about 2 p.m. Wednesday, May 2nd, when employees complained of an itching, burning sensation in their eyes and throats. That led to the evacuation of close to 360 employees of the company located in the Farmington Industrial Park. Those who had been most affected by the unknown substance were transported by ambulance to 3 local hospitals. The rest were transported on buses provided by the Farmington School District. A hazardous materials team from Jefferson County was called to the scene, but were unable to pinpoint the source of the trouble.
Stamp prices are increasing once again. Channel 20's Chad LaChance gives us more.
The United States Postal Service is going to be raising the prices on postage stamps as of May 14, 2007. Charlie Cresswell talks about the price raise and what it means for the public.
The price increase is going up to 41 cents. The Board of Governors approved it to cover the cost. The Post Office since 1970 has been mandated that we break even. So with the price increase, it's going to help us recoup money that over the last 2 years, since the last increase, it takes a while for the increase to take effect. But the 2 cents is going to go in effect on May 14th, and that's for a first-class letter. But there's many changes with the Postal Service that are going to happen on May 14th that are very in-depth, lots of details and different things that people are not used to. We're no longer going to mail we used to mail by shape and it was a fee. Now it's going to be whatever you mail, it's got a set fee for certain things. You used to be able to mail 2 pounds in a 50-pound box. Well, now we're going to charge you for that 50-pound box that should be holding 50 pounds. And things like that where people are going to see change. But it's going to be cheaper based on what you do mail.
With the addition of the new price raise, the United States Postal Service came out with a new stamp called the Forever Stamp.
The Forever Stamp was invented, I guess, to when the price does go up, people seem to make a run on us for the 2-cent stamps. And so that costs us lines, which in turn take time to service at the counters. With the new stamp, the next time the price increase goes up, if you still have that stamp, it's good for whatever the price goes up to.
The stamps can be purchased in sheets of 18 or booklets of 20, and there are no limits on customer purchases. Reporting for Channel 20 News, I'm Chad LaChance.
Turkey season has just ended here in Missouri. Conservation agent Grant Jelly gives us a wrap-up on the season.
This season was a success. However, we weren't quite as successful as a whole in the state of Missouri as we were in the 2006 season. I'll give you some quick totals for local counties. In St. Francis County this year we harvested 364 turkeys. St. Genevieve County, which is an excellent turkey county, harvested 721 birds. And Madison County, just south of us here, harvested 271 birds. Statewide this year, we killed 44,947 turkeys, as compared to last year in 2006 when we killed 51,415. Also this year, I wanted to commend all the hunters. As far as safety concerns go, we had very, very few turkey hunting accidents in the state this year, and I think a lot of that contributes to lack of leaves in the woods, and hopefully the safety messages that we're getting out to hunters are really starting to take effect. So just want to congratulate everyone on a safe and successful season.
The middle school recently held their spring book fair. School librarian Allison Hensley hoped to bring in $2,000 to $3,000. The book fair surpassed that, and they made $3,665. The money will go towards new books and other programs in the library.
Would you like to host a foreign exchange student? Several hosts are needed for the 2007 and 2008 school year. For more information on hosting, contact Gary or Jackie Pinkston at 1-866-425-4678. Now here's Sports Director Craig McBride with this week's Black Knight Sports Report.
The Farmington boys golf team took first place in their conference tournament this past week. The Knights registered a .329 as a team to place first, 6 strokes ahead of the Raiders and 10 strokes ahead of third place Arcadia Valley. Brian Gallagher finished second overall with a 6 over par 78, and Gene Williams tied for third with a 9 over 81. The Farmington boys tennis team won the district tournament on May 10th for the first time since 1988. Along with the district championship, the Knights will send 3 players on to the state tournament. Justin Arnold, who finished second overall in districts, will move on to the state tournament in singles, and partners Eric Flimler and Colton Reynolds finished second overall in districts and will also advance on to the state tournament in doubles. Now let's go to Stephen Mosier for a look at girls soccer.
The Knights girls soccer season is rapidly approaching its end. This year the girls' record was 5-12 going into the conference tournament. The Knights' last home game was this past Thursday. The Knights played Poplar Bluff, losing to them 3-1. Tabitha Ainsworth, member of the Knights soccer team, tells us more how she thinks the season went.
We've had some key wins against Poplar Bluff. We beat them twice. And then we recently lost to St. Vincent 1-0, but they just beat a top team in the state in Class 2, so we've played well lately.
Danielle West, another member of the Knights soccer team, also shares her thoughts of how the season went.
At the beginning of the season, we had a lot of injuries and a lot of people quit, so we pulled up a lot of freshmen that played JV to help us out on varsity, and by the end of the season, we definitely worked together as a team a lot more. At the beginning of the season, not so much, but that definitely got better.
This Saturday, the Knights will be playing at Perryville against Sykeston for the first round of the district tournament. During West's interview, she talks about her thoughts of how she thinks the team will do in the conference tournament.
I think we have a really good chance against Sykeston. Last time we played them, we got kind of unlucky with the goal that we kind of scored for them. But other than that, I really think that we should do well against them.
The Knights play Sykeston for the first round of the district tournament. Good luck to the Knights. Reporting for Channel 20 News, I'm Stephen Mosier.
The Farmington Knights baseball team has ended their season on a good note by defeating the Poplar Bluff Mules 10-3 on senior night at Wilson Rozier Ballpark. The Knights ended the season with a record of 14-10 and will play at Wilson Rozier on May 12th at 3 against the Central Rebels in the first round of the district tournament.
In an effort to educate students and community members about the problems surrounding teenage drug and alcohol abuse, the federal government requires that any school receiving Title IV funding participate in this survey or one similar every other school year. 420 students between 6th and 12th grade took the anonymous online survey to provide information to assist educators on how they can better focus on real problems, such as the age in which most teenagers begin experimenting with drugs and/or alcohol. Though not all students participated, those who took part revealed some very interesting results that may surprise or even shock some parents. For example, when students were asked, during the past 30 days, how many times did you ride in a car or other vehicle driven by someone who had been drinking alcohol? 15.23% of students responded that they had done so. And when asked if you want to get some beer, alcohol, or hard liquor, how easy would it be to get some? 39.52% responded that it would be easy for them. But these days, getting alcohol as a minor is getting harder and harder.
We have a security system here that has many cameras, and it's pretty sophisticated because we can actually make a CD of the act and then give it to our police, and they can pick them up, get them prosecuted. We don't even have to go to the court because it's right there.
Sharon Hughes and her husband have owned and operated a local liquor store for over 20 years. And you can bet they've seen it all, from fake IDs, older friends buying for minors, and of course those underage alcohol enthusiasts that would just rather take their chances and steal from the stores. They do their best to keep minors away, but it's the of-age friends to minors that makes it nearly impossible to keep alcohol and tobacco out of the hands where it doesn't belong.
There's times, of course, when we wouldn't even know that they're buying alcohol for a minor. And the minor probably doesn't realize that if they get a friend that is of age to buy for them, and then they get caught with that alcohol, and you know, that friend can have prosecution against him for providing alcohol to a minor, or even tobacco. And serious fines.
There are certainly more serious things that could come even than just a small fine. You could be looking at endangering the welfare. I think there was some cases in the state or in this nearby that this has actually happened, and they went after that person for supplying that. And you know, you might be looking at some sort of manslaughter charge or something, as if it's a direct result of you supplying that person with alcohol and then resulting in a death. You know, obviously, whatever the charge would be, it's a very serious problem.
According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, about 3 in every 10 Americans will be involved in an alcohol-related crash at some time in their life. 28% of 15 to 20-year-old drivers who were killed in motor vehicle crashes in 2005 had been drinking.
A combination of alcohol and even a car itself is a lethal weapon, because it does kill.
Out of those surveyed, 17.15% answered that they drink regularly. And out of that 17.15%, 11.19% started drinking regularly between the ages of 14 and 15. Corporal Sam Weekly of the Farmington Police Department talks about why the legal age for consuming or possessing alcohol is set at age 21.
The law says you must be 21 to drink. Then you need to be 21, and there's a reason why that law and the age was picked. It's, you know, scientifically proven that people are still developing and growing until they're, you know, approximately age 21 as far as their development of the brain. So alcohol shows that use prior to that, you can be develop a dependency, an addiction to it at a faster rate at a younger age. So there's a lot of reasons, a lot of thought went in to make the age 21, and that, you know, people sometimes want to fudge on the laws. Well, you got to set a line somewhere, and it's 21.
The survey also polled issues like school violence, other drug use, and tobacco use. Less than 2% of the students reported using hard drugs such as cocaine, speed, ecstasy, or other club drugs. Overall, the Farmington students did not show trends of alcohol or drug abuse. With the results in hand, a Title IV advisory council was formed of district staff, community members, and of a few students. The council plans to utilize the survey results and put programs in new education curriculum in place to prevent drug and alcohol problems in the future and deal with the present problems. But the education needs to start at a young age and at home as well.
Parents need information to give their kids and talk to them all the time about different things. And like I said, don't be afraid to ask your kids questions, and you know, maybe even go in their rooms, and don't have computers where kids can access them without parents knowing what they're looking at, because kids can get involved in a lot of things without knowing what they're getting involved in sometimes. So
if you would like more information on how to talk to your kids about drugs or alcohol, you can contact your child's school counseling center, or you can visit the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry at www.aacap.org. For Channel 20 News, I'm Aaron Cox.
The Farmington Middle School recently raised $1,000 for the Sean Hornbeck Foundation. Foundation members, including Hornbeck and his parents, were at the school last Friday to accept the donation.
We're just blessed that the very children that we try to help and protect thought enough of what we do get together and do all the crazy things you did to make this happen. We're just so proud of you all. This is a time of growth for the foundation, and we're rapidly trying to expand our child ID programs and putting a lot more emphasis on our abduction prevention education classes that we hold for kids just like you and their parents. We feel it's a big part of what we can do to keep children safe is educating them on things they can do themselves, because obviously it boils down onto you keeping yourself safe.
The students and the staff raised the money by donating $1 to wear pajamas or a hat to school for 3 consecutive days. After winning the district title last week, the Farmington Knights baseball team continued postseason play this week. Channel 20's Aaron Murray has details.
The Farmington Knights continued to roll through the postseason on Thursday night as they toppled the Sykeston Bulldogs 9-4. The Knights were led to their 18th victory of the season by the arm and bat of Isaac Armstrong. Armstrong threw an exhausting 143 pitches in his complete game of work. He struck out 7, but overall did not have a strong command of the strike zone as he handed out 12 free passes on the evening. He walked 12, hit 1. However, Armstrong was able to fool the batters time and time again as he held the Bulldogs to 4 hits. Armstrong also had a great night at the plate, going 3 for 3 with a double, 2 singles, and a walk. A rising star, Brian Krause, also had a great night as he went 2 for 3 at the bottom of the lineup and got the scoring started in the second.
Krause looking for the 4th Black Knight hit, and he sends it over to the left side of the infield. Shortstop picks it up, but Krause is in there in plenty of time.
After signing to play at MAC next year on Wednesday, Erica Pius came up with a big 2 RBI hit in the 4th to regain a 5-run lead for the Knights. Derek Stroop, who also signed on Wednesday to play at Southwest Baptist, followed with an RBI single in the 5th to bring Krause home and hand the Knights their largest lead of the night. Armstrong bared down in the 7th and faced less than 5 batters for the first time since the first inning, as he retired 1 on a strikeout, 1 on a lineout, and the last one on a flyout to center. The Knights will try to continue their postseason run on Saturday as they play host to the Seckman Jaguars. I'm Aaron Murray, BKTV Channel 20.
Construction of the new addition to the Farmington High School is continuing to go well. Associate Superintendent Howard Hain gives us an update.
We're looking at the new high school addition from the east side of the building. The first floor is structurally complete, and as you can see, bricklayers are finishing the second floor addition, which will house 1 classroom and 2 mechanical rooms. The project is on schedule, and if we get the roof on it, hopefully in the first to second week of June, then we'll be able to do the painting and drywall inside to be able to have classrooms ready by the 16th of August when we begin school. That means over the summer being able to move the library to counseling center and the PAYS classroom equipment and chairs and desks into that facility. Also, the water retention program that we're undertaking behind this addition is going very nicely, and we have 2 of 3 retention ponds dug and have surface water drainage piped and drained to those, and we're in the final phase of finishing the parking lots, and 1 large retaining wall has been built behind the football field, and we're in the process of building another retaining wall to be able to make room for an athletic building, and that project is going very well at this time also.
The new Rallies in Farmington opened last week. Rallies is located next to the Family Video across the street from USA Drug. The restaurant is famous for its 2 drive-through windows. 6 BKTV seniors are among those graduating this weekend. Here's Channel 20's Stephen Mosier with more.
This year, BKTV says goodbye to 6 graduating seniors. News anchor, reporter, photographer, and general manager Aaron Cox, news anchor, reporter, and news director Jessica Sneathering, weather anchor, news producer, and photographer Dustin Kopp, sports director, reporter, and photographer Craig McBride, sports anchor, reporter, photographer Chad LaChance, and our avid video editor Ethan Vilcott. A capacity crowd attended commencement exercises for the FHS class of 2007. This year's graduation was on May 25th at the Farmington Civic Center. The graduates received the highest ACT score in school history, scored in the top 10 statewide on the Communication Arts MAP test, obtained 7 district championships for athletics, and received more than $2 million in scholarships. Erica Pius was named Knight of the Year by Principal Matt Rubel. Danielle Luttrell was named valedictorian of the class, and the top 10 students were also recognized. Congratulations to all the graduates of the class of 2007 from everyone at BKTV. For Channel 20 News, I'm Stephen Mosier.
Thank you for watching our final edition of Channel 20 News for this school year. I'm Aaron Cox.
And I'm Jessica Sneathern. We invite you to tune in next fall for a brand new team of reporters and anchors. Until then, have a great summer and thanks for watching.